Welcome to the rabbit hole, where we go deep, deep into the rabbit hole. We're like-minded me. Welcome to the rabbit hole, the truth we see. There's lizard people everywhere, the conspiracies peak.
Welcome to the rabbit hole, where we go deep, uninvited from the rabbit hole. The weak-minded sheep for the open-minded people, not the little but the weak. Welcome to the rabbit hole. You sure you wanna be?
We have before us the opportunity to forge a new world order.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society.
And for future generations.
Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. We don't have time for a
new world order.
Treasure Island.
They never come back. And boy,
Yes, everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the rabbit hole. The Ramblers have united. We're not a new Rambler. We've got a new Rambler. We got Perchy's coming in. He's been on the show before, but he hasn't been part of the main crew. But you know what? He wanted to be a part of this one because we're talking about things that are less, in some people's eyes, make believe and more probable thoughts. We've got Boo Gene, who's in the show tonight as well, who's a skeptic. Every time we go down the rabbit holes of potential Israel-related mischief, Eugene plays, I'm going to eye roll and go, yeah, it's us again, is it? It's us again. And, of course, we've got Looney Suze, who's usually called Skeptic Suze. But tonight she's leading the charge because she is a Candace Owens enthusiast. We've got Tim Pool enthusiast down here. We've got the whole meltdown that's happened over Charlie Kirks' sad passing. And we're going to try and figure out exactly what is going on. Guys, I want to say a massive hello to all of you in the chat. As you know, we do have a new policy on this show. What we're trying to do is give you back some members' content. So we're going to do a little bit, as much as we can on the show tonight, and then at the end we're going to pop over to a members stream for the members only, just to give you half an hour additional value or so, maybe 45 minutes. Last time it was only supposed to be 20 minutes. We ended up going for an hour and a half. This is the thing. This is what happens. This is what's happened. So smash the like button, hit the subscribe, notification button should be squeezed, and obviously drop your comments. Keep them coming thick and fast. Susie, how are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm really good to be back. I've missed a few shows, so yeah, I'm quite excited for this one.
Nice. Perchy, how you doing, my man?
I am good. Thanks for having me on. It's let's get it. This will be good. I'm excited.
Have you got your tinfoil hat ready?
It's in the cupboard. We might get it out. We'll see. We'll dig. We've got some things to talk about. Let's go for it.
I am genuinely actually thinking about bringing out some merch, like a hat that has got like a silver lining on the top with the picture of Alice looking in the rabbit hole. Getting some members merch already on the go. It's going to be
Some RHR merch will be good.
100%. Boo Gene, Eugene, New Gene. What were you last week? Was it Wee Gene? When we were talking about Ouija boards. And you said that you would do a Ouija board and we called you Wee Gene. Is that what it was?
I don't know. It changes every week.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to be on. Again, this is supposed to be the reptilian alien episode, but this is an emergency last minute change.
It can still go towards that.
I'm here for it. I'm here to defend, your
people,
Charlie Kirk's relatives, the wife, and the Jews. So I'm here.
Good. Listen, guys, welcome to everybody. We're going to get into this. If you do see shadows over me during the show, please don't let me know. I'm trying to avoid losing my concentration. Right, let's start a little bit. So I've got about 12 or 15 or whatever, something around their videos to pop into to give us some guidance. But we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk. You know, everyone knows Charlie Kirk. I'm sure you've heard the story. He was a massive conservative, young, super successful. The CEO of Turning Point USA, which was the kind of conservative or the Republican-leaning, youth-centric think tank or whatever you want to call it. And obviously, he was assassinated on the 10th of September of this year. And everything about the story since has been a little bit weird. And we've had people like Candace Owens, who were his best mate, basically saying that the organization betrayed him. His best friends betrayed him. All of his right-hand men betrayed him. She hasn't gone as far, Susie, she hasn't gone as far as to accuse Erica Kirk of being in on it. But Erica Kirk has got her own weird stuff going on, and she is now the new CEO, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think he put that in his will that that she was to take over. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot to kind of uncover there with all the sort of insurance things on his life, and yeah, we'll unpack that as we go.
So, look, as with everything in life, when you have an assassination and there's a lone gunman, the lone gunman is supposed to be a guy called Tyler Robinson, who is still unclear whether he's left-wing or right-wing. Apparently, at one point he was right-wing. Certainly, his family were right-wing, but then apparently he's also got like a transgender or a queer LGBTQ spectrum boyfriend, and so that would maybe make you think he was a little bit left-leaning, maybe politically changed as he got older. I don't know. You, Boogene, you're already laughing at me. Is that an assumption straight off the bat?
I'll just make this statement, and I could be wrong, but if you have a trans boyfriend and you're a furry, chances are you're on the left. Chances are.
What is a furry, by the way? Do they dress up and?
Yeah, they dress up in like.
They dress up as a fringe, right?
You know that's the fetish.
Like those giant head things, don't they?
Yeah,
am I right in saying?
Like a sexual thing where.
So it's
play out like animal
into the
stuff.
bestiality thing.
No, I think I don't think that's what it is. I think they try and pretend to be them. I think you're going down a very different.
Yeah, that's a different show, Sean. That's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is one definitely not for YouTube.
Careful. No,
let's do that in the members show.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The members show. The members show. Already got us demonetized. There's strike 2. This show is on thin ice with Butler on.
Yeah,
by the way,
they just dress up and they have sex with each other like in like animal costumes.
Yeah, they pretend to be animals, Sean.
No animals.
No, I know that. I know that. I'm not saying they actually have sex with animals. I'm just saying but there's a little bit of a sort of trend into that. If they're dressing up like animals to have sex with each other, then surely there's something a bit messed up about it. I'm not saying that they then go and do something else. I'm not saying that, am I?
Yeah, let's go to the fact they think they're animals is the weird one. Like that's the weird part. Like the rest of it's insane.
Well, listen, just for what before we get into any further, because I had probably just I think I've absolutely just cooked the channel straight from the get-go. Let me. I might as well take this opportunity right now to say, guys, if you guys are on Rumble, then here is the follow us on Rumble, because I think over there you can say whatever you want and not be too worried about it. So I've decided to put the channel on Rumble as well. I don't know what I've got to do to get a better link than C-7821989998, but that is the Rumble link, guys. So please do follow us over there if you've got a channel or whatever. All right, Susie, let's start with so yeah, we've got some videos to look at.
Yeah.
Where should we start? Should we start with the footage of like the video of him running around the roof? Where would you like to start with the conspiracy? Because you're the one.
Yeah, I think let's start with the actual gunman, and then we can kind of take it in sections and as the whole sort of day goes on, and then the aftermath of it. I think.
All right, so let me see then. Which one is it? Kurt, I think it's this one here, I think it's not the one. That's the one we'll do that one later. This is the one, I think. By the way, sorry about the no noise. There's no noise on it. Are they showing the same video 3 times there? Hang on, you're on mute, Susie. If you take yourself off mute.
Oh, sorry. What I was saying is, as he jumps down off that building, if you have a look at the people that are walking in the background, maybe if you just, I'll play it again after this one. But basically, you'll see that person in the background walks up until the tree, and then as soon as past the tree, there's no person again. So yeah, I think the whole sort of thing is that this is actually a this
Like an
video has
AI
been
thing.
tampered with.
That's the problem, though, isn't it? With all of these things.
No, but not
these
no,
days-
but it's that they're saying no, that actually.
Who was
No, they're
that?
saying that all the footage of that has actually been doctored to show that there was this gunman and how he obviously escaped and stuff. But yeah, they're kind of saying that actual video, that this is what they've released, is an incorrect video, that it has been doctored. But I mean, whether that's obviously true or not, I mean, the whole thing about this video as well is the gun that he was supposed to have used. They're saying that he broke it up in order to fit it in that little backpack that he jumped off the building with, ran into the forest, and then put the weapon back together, and then obviously left it there in the forest for them to find, and then ran home. So it just doesn't make sense, obviously. Like,
I thought.
Have you also seen have you seen the videos of those like gun specialists who understand what that type of rifle that apparently was the murder weapon and the bullet that the bullet that it fires?
Yeah.
And they took it to like a gun range and they put like an equivalent like a neck of a human body or whatever and a head, and they fired it from that distance, like 200 yards or whatever it is, and they showed the aftermath. And they did it like 5 or 6 different times, and every single time the head didn't even make it. Like it went through the neck and the entire head just become decapitated basically by the so essentially what Candace is saying is ain't no way that it was the bullet that they said it is fired by the gun that they said it was. And when you look at the fact that kid, if it was him, that he had enough time to be able to take the shot, unmount it, take it all down, somehow squeeze it into his backpack, even though the bits were too long for a backpack, get down. And by the way, that fall that he dropped, that like 12-foot fall, looked like he would really smashed his knees, smashed his ankles on that one, by the way.
I don't get, if they've got that footage, how have they not got the footage of him taking the shot? So they've got the bit of him leaving. Why would, if these are CCTV bits of footage, you would have the whole bit of him mounting it. Do you see what I mean? Like, getting CCTV, if you can get all of a sudden you can just get the snippet of him leaving, doesn't make sense. You'd surely get the whole lot. I think the bit that makes no sense to me was he dismounted the gun, then put it back together. Like, why? Like I'm trying to use logic in it. Logically, if you've just shot someone, you're not going to sit there and go, I'm going to put it back together again and then leave it there to be found. Like, it doesn't, I don't know, that thing doesn't add up to me on that. That's the bit for me that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave it there, would you? You wouldn't leave it in. And apparently he was texting his boyfriend, the furry, saying they haven't found the gun yet. I'm going to go back and try and get the gun or whatever, all this stuff. I mean, there was a hell of a lot of things that were, I mean, that's just the timeline of events that were weird. Like, you wouldn't, the fact that all the reports came out saying, oh, we've got his WhatsApp messages or his Discord, whatever, the messages between him and his boyfriend, and just like it all seemed like it was like an admission, like an expose of himself in like the 5 minutes after he did it when he's texting. It all just felt a little bit too clean and obvious, and an admission of the absolute truth and guilt. Like, if you were trying to plant it on someone, that's exactly what you would do. If you had done it, you wouldn't be quite as clear and concise and
and also
bit by bit what you've done in that sequence of events, you know.
And this fella, for some reason, had no social media, which just doesn't, like, add up into anything. Like, why has this kid got no social media at, like, in an era where it's nearly impossible? It's weird for people not to have even one level of social media. Don't have to have everything, but to not have anything, it's it's a very peculiar thing. And to have no, all of us, yeah. And I think that's the key bit, right? The things that were traceable on him were all of, yes, I've killed him, I shot him, and I've put the gun here. But then there's nothing else before that. Like, it's very something doesn't add up.
And then people was a little bit suspicious about that stuff, right, Eugene?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Trump thing, you know, it was similar, but it was even worse because everything was scrubbed. So the kid who shot Trump, his house, like nothing was there. Everything was scrubbed, no fingerprints, no social media presence, nothing. So
and then no one asked any more questions about that one either, did they?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. That's so weird, right? I mean, that's a president and no questions asked. So
no questions
with this
asked.
one, I mean, there was a video in the beginning when they showed the next day. He was walking to that building and he was limping. So it was obvious he had a gun in his pants. So the gun was already assembled when he was on the way. But that video,
because he was limping.
Yeah, because like the gun was like inside his pants, right? So that's why he was limping, just because.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that one that you just showed, and I'm not sure if it's real or not.
So no one's uncovered. Like, we'll get to the videos in a second, but like Candace Owens is she's going, look at all the footage of all of the weird stuff that happens in the moment as it's shot, right? All the guys, we'll show the videos, like all of his helpers and his aides doing like weird signals out of, and they had like, you know, everyone examined every piece of footage that they could have, that they could find from various people with their phones out to see what looked weird about the whole event. No one's talking about the idea of a Manchurian candidate. And a load of the other videos that we've shown on previous shows or episodes of this have shown about the WEF now having mechanisms to implant memories, to have sort of MK Ultra style signals where you have, you know, handlers, and you basically you basically control people's minds, and then you give them a signal and then they go and do something. No one's talking about any of that stuff. Like, I reckon that the geezer that tried to take out Trump, if it was him, I don't know if it was, but obviously we don't know because he was killed on the day. But all that and this one, it all just seems like they're all patsies. They're patsies for bigger, like, who comes up with the idea by themselves to go and do this without knowing full well that, or like, if you're just a normal person at home, you're not going to have the details of where the guy's going to be, or the president, where they're going to be. You're not going to have had the time to have scoped out the perfect spot that has a sight, you know, a line of sight. You're not going to have the plan of action of how you're going to get away. That all requires a hell of a lot of insight into what the event is going to be and how it's going to unfold. And so I just don't think that like an average person could pull that off. Maybe like an opportune moment, an opportune type of assassination, like the geezer that killed the one that triggered World War I, the guy who killed Archduke Ferdinand, Franz Ferdinand. Have you heard that story, by the way? Just quickly, not to get off topic, but
a little bit, yeah.
No.
Like, there was 9 or 10 like 19-year-olds. So Serbia was going to war with the Austro-Hungarian Empire. They hated each other, absolutely hated each other. And Franz Ferdinand was the Archduke. He was in Serbia doing like a rally, right? And there was these 10 kids, 19, 20-year-olds that all got together, and they basically decided, like, I'll be here on the route, right? We know the route that the motorcade is going to take. And Arch Ferdinand was in like a sort of convertible car or whatever. I'll be here. You be half a mile down the road. You be half a mile down the road. You be half a mile down the road, whatever. And the first person who gets a chance, clean shot, take it, and then we all scamper. So something weird happened where somebody else threw a grenade into the car, right, to try to assassinate him. And then one of the security guys got the grenade and threw it out, and it went under a separate car, killed a couple other people. And obviously then there was mayhem. And all of the 10 people that were supposed to be on the assassination route went, shit, fuck, let's go, get out of here, right? Failed. The whole thing's done. So they all fuck off. Archduke Ferdinand sits there, doesn't disappear, decides like the parade's done, the thing's over. But one of the security guards that protected him got hurt in the grenade's explosion, and so he went to hospital. The guy that was supposed to be one of the assassination things, he fucks off down the pub, right? He's down the pub going, like the plan's done, we're fucked. I'm sure they're going to find out it was us or whatever. We're all absolutely fucked. And he survived. Nightmare. So he's sunk, drowning his sorrows. This is a true story. He's drowning his sorrows, and he goes outside to take a piss against the wall. And as he goes outside, Franz Ferdinand is in one of the cars, and they had gone down this route to go to the hospital to see how the security guard was, how he was recovering from getting hurt in the explosion. And so he's like, oh, my life's done, having a piss against the wall, turns around, and there's Franz Ferdinand driving past. So he goes, what the fuck? Bang! And shoots him. And that was the start of World War One, because then it became like a conversation of all the different powers. The superpowers had to then go, whose side are you taking? Are you going to take this side? You take that side. France got involved, England got involved, all that stuff. And then from then on, that the rest is history. So had he not gone to that pub, or had he not taken a piss at that moment, Franz Ferdinand might have survived, and there would have been no World War One. A little thing, like I was saying, my point about that whole rant was opportunity strikes, and maybe you could get some idiot that gets the opportunity to do something crazy, but to be at the right place at the right time with the all the information around where the event's going to be and all that stuff. To me, it seems like that needs to be coordinated with higher powers involved.
But everybody knew though, son, like he does the same thing on every campus. So like everybody knew where the stage is going to be. Everybody knew like the date. It's not like a president where there's a security detail where everything is supposed to be checked, right?
You say that,
it shows up.
Actually, that particular event was arranged at really short notice. It was arranged like a day before, according to Candace.
Don't listen to her.
Well, this is what we do here. We speculate
Don't listen to her. Listen to me. She's not on.
Mossad.
She's not here to defend herself.
She's not a mod.
Like, I find it like I think like Sean makes a good point though, like because how did the guy get up there? Like because easy getting down, you can jump from the top of that building out there, but you would have. How did he get in there? Because he'd have gone through the school because it's on in the campus, right? Because you can't just there wouldn't be a ladder to climb on top of that. So you're telling me that this guy has managed to get in there and with a gun into school to climb up there to then shoot him? Like it was. There's so many things that this is the problem, right? This is where these sort of conspiracies will come back in the sense of there's so many unanswered questions because it's kind of this is the guy that's killed him. We've caught him. He's arrested. Right. Okay. You're going to normally the whole point of an investigation is to go and say, what was his motives? We don't even know it's almost like this is the guy, we've caught him, now let's move on with it. We've now solved the case. Well, hang on, what was his reasoning for shooting him? We've got no actual reasoning yet.
The reasoning is the trans boyfriend, right? So the whole thing, Kirk was speaking out against the trans issue.
Do we even know this trans boy? This person spoke? I've never heard about this person.
Yeah. They interviewed, there is a transcript,
He wasn't wearing a furry outfit when he was on the interview.
Yeah.
No. Doesn't count then, does it?
He was in the dry cleaners that day, apparently. They had a good night the night before. Because that's the official story, right? So, the motive is he doesn't like trans people. I'm going to kill the guy. And it's fine. People can use relatively small motives to invoke pretty horrendous things. So it's absolutely possible and plausible that it's all as it says. But these things rarely are, right? When was the last time Martin Luther King, when he was assassinated, that wasn't standard. That was CIA. JFK, we know that wasn't a lone gunman in the bell tower or whatever, or in the clock room or whatever it's called, the classroom. Eugene, you don't think that Trump's assassination attempt was just some donut child who was high on Adderall or whatever, do you?
Because that one is crazy because you cannot get so close to the president. I mean, every single rooftop usually has snipers. Right. Like, there is no way where some random kid with a rifle can just find a rooftop so close to the president. There is no way that he has no social media presence. Everything is scrubbed, no fingerprints, like no forks and spoons in the house. Everything is clean. Like that's not possible. So that is a real conspiracy.
So I reckon you're okay with that one being a conspiracy because there's no assertion that it was Israel that tried to take out Trump.
There can always be an assertion. See, so that's the thing. It's like in Russia in the old days, like after the revolution, they said, show me a man and I'll show you the crime, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like if you have a premise in your mind, and that's my issue with Owens. She has a premise, and now anything can be, like anything you can fit within that premise. Oh, look, it's a signal. Oh, look, this guy is doing what he's not supposed to be doing. Like once
some of these signals I'm about to show you. Some of these signals do look fucking weird though.
Yeah, but again, right? Like it starts like you don't start with a premise and then look for the jigsaw puzzle to fit in within your premise. It's supposed to be the other way around, right? Show me proof, and then you come up.
Yeah, but in order to find proof, you need to have a suspicion.
Yeah.
Well, but it needs to be based on evidence.
If everyone's just going to take the word of like this is the problem with society, right? Like the people are well past the bullshit that the government is out to protect you, that their job is to serve you, a government by the people, of the people, for the people. It's fucking bollocks. It's been bollocks since time started. But people like my dad's generation have generally been asleep to this, that they sleep well at night thinking that the government are just doing their best. And you know what? There's people that are inept and all that stuff. And yes, there's people that are corrupt and power everywhere you go. But generally speaking, you can't do anything about it if the conspiracies are true. So don't worry about it. But also not everything's a conspiracy. Whereas our generation, most of our generation, especially people that are watching this, I hope, have long since woken up that everything's a fucking conspiracy. Everything is. On some level, if you just use the definition of a conspiracy, which is a group of people that are using COVID means to sort of mechanic some sort of or engineer some sort of outcome that benefits them that isn't the true story, then everything's a fucking conspiracy, from COVID to JFK to 9/11 to football matches, the World Cup, to everything, including Charlie Kirk. I don't believe that just one person ever has the balls personally, or the means, or the intelligence to be able to do the sort of thing that would require, and at the same time want to fuck a person that looks like
That's
a bear.
fair. But it could be Antifa, right? It's the same thing like during the BLM riots, right? Like there are a lot of organizations that could be doing it. It's like when the BRICS were.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's Israel. We haven't got Israel.
But I'm talking about Owens, right? Like you need to see who is benefiting from the narrative. She's getting clicks, right? Her like the history of Owens after she was fired by Ben Shapiro. She was going in on Israel, this and that, which is cool, right? About the US sending money to Israel, which I agree with her on. However, now that's all, like everything she looks at, she sees the same thing, right? Even, okay, it looks like a conspiracy, but she's looking at every single thing from the same lens. It has to be Israel, Mossad for like no reason. It just makes no sense. And she's the one who's benefiting from all the clicks and from all the views, right? She went from, from the French thing. I'm not gonna, allegedly. Now that's done. She needs new views and new clicks. Now this is the new thing.
No, I hear you. I hear you. But her having a motivation doesn't mean two things can be true at the same time, right? The official story could be a load of bollocks, and she could be someone that's trying to investigate it and also benefit from it at the same time. There can be multiple things happening here.
Yeah, but I think we should just finish with a shooter, and then we can go down the sort of Candace and all the other, because otherwise we just break it up. Like it just doesn't make sense. We're just jumping all over the place, I think, sometimes.
Aye, Captain.
No, I'm just saying, because it's otherwise we never finish like segments and like.
I am the captain now.
I am the captain now. Susie, let me know. I'll give you a stream. I'll give you the spot that Perchy's email had for my StreamYard account. Okay, I've got a couple more videos from the crime scene and the assassination thing. So let's have a look at one of these first, and then we'll run with it. I actually got 3 videos on this one. Here we go.
Been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been
Signal 1, Signal 2,
in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not?
Signal 3,
Not counting gang
Signal 4.
violence.
Great.
I'm really glad that video didn't show.
Yeah, I was going to say, stop.
Yeah. The channel's on its last legs anyway. 4 signals. Four signals. What are we saying?
And also there is a, I don't know if I sent it to you, Sean, but there is another angle. So, you know, the guy who's holding the phone that touched his cap, the angle was from someone who was sort of behind him. And there was a guy in front who also did a very strange thing with his shirt as well. So it was all kind of...
I've seen that one as well, yeah.
It's all kind of linked together, yeah.
And there's also the conspiracy that they're all the people that are apparently in on it were all wearing maroon. They're all like, and maroon is like, so... Eugene's laughing. So apparently Candace is saying that they're all she said like there's a disproportionately high amount of people at the Utah University that day that are all like about 25 to 35-year-old men, a little bit too old to be students. They're all stacked. They've all got sort of like short army type haircuts, absolute beefcakes, and they're all wearing maroon t-shirts with like cargo pant type clobber, and they all seem to be having a disproportionately high amount of conversations with each other as the footage was sort of unfolding or whatever. And she was like, how many men wear maroon? How many men between the age of 25 and 35 would be there if it's mainly a student event? Why are they all talking to each other? Is it just a way for them to let each other know that, yeah, I'm part of this as well? Like, we're all part of the same thing here if they don't necessarily know each other.
Maroon is one of the University of Utah colors, by the way, just to give you a little bit. Yeah, I literally just Googled it now. That's that. So, look, the thing is the one thing I literally just Googled it, and I literally came up with like, there was like 3, one's like a yellow, one's like a maroon, and one's like a grey. I'm not chief advocate. I'm just chaperoning. The question I'd ask on those. The question I have on those signal things, though, look, in looking at those images, it's a little bit suspect. But then equally, why would you need every single one to be equally? Who are those signals going to? Because the shooter. So is the shooter got to go? Okay, I need to make sure he's touched his arm, that. He's played head, shoulders, knees, and toes before I hit the button. Because I would guess it if you saw like a tap of the cap or something like that, and then boom, now you go, okay, now I'm going more. But like, my point is though, there's like,
how many signals are enough? How many signals did it take to screw in a light bulb, sort of thing?
Well, no, because everybody's communicating with a different person. If this is a sort of a massive job, this isn't just a lone shooter. We've already established that. So the point is you would have to have a number of people signaling, and also to ensure that everybody is ready for the moment that it's going to happen. So that is a signal to say, look, okay, right, I'm ready, let's go. And then it goes.
I have a question.
So I think that's why everybody needs to signal. I mean, you've obviously seen like, I'm not going into movies now, but like you'll see whoever's wearing the headsets, they all have to give their say so that it's right to go. It's not just one person that says, right, let's go.
But why would you need a signal in the first place, right? Like if you're a shooter, if you have a clean shot, you take that shot. Like, what's the purpose of, like, because usually you give a signal if it's like multiple targets and you have to coordinate kind of a bigger operation. If it's just one target and a shooter or 2 shooters, what's the point of a signal? You have a clean shot, you just take it.
Because it's not, but Eugene, it's not about that. Because if it's a big operation, it's not just about the shooter. It's about everything that happens after the shooting. So it's about people who's gonna catch the body, who's gonna remove evidence. Did you understand? So it's not just about having the shooter. The shooter will say, right, I've got a clear view. Are you ready to go? Bing, boom, boom, boom. Everybody does their signals. That's the moment it happens. Like
the only problem I've got with it, right, is that if the first of all, I thought when I first heard it when I first saw it on Twitter, before I knew there was any conspiracy about it, the time it took from the sound of the clip, the bang, to the to him shooting his neck back was almost instantaneous, like that, right? Whereas I would imagine from 200 yards, there's at least some sort of visible gap, but it was like bang, and then his head was back almost at the same sound, which immediately my immediate thought was like, that's not a lot of time. I know it's obviously never going to be a lot of time because there's a gunshot, but like it's a disproportionately smaller amount of time than I would have imagined. Not that I'm familiar too much with guns, but just the general thought. When I've fired guns in Australia on a gun range 100 meters, and you fire it, there is a period of time between you're pulling the trigger and you're hearing it hit the target or miss the target in my case. But the reality is, the other part that's concerning for me is if there was someone that was 200 meters shooting far enough away, and people that were in on it happened to be the people that were standing around him. I'm not sure even if I know that my guy is going to get shot, and I'm that bad of a friend or that bad of a colleague, and I know something bad's going to happen, I'm not sure I really want to be like 2 feet behind him or like 3 foot to the side, just in case the geezer is pulling the trigger. I don't know, like a fly lands on his nose and makes him twitch or something, and then you know what I mean? Like
that was what I was just about to say. Something I was in that line because I was like, "You're right." The guy was standing literally. The bodyguard that you're saying is the arm thing. I mean, he's less than a meter away from him.
Yeah,
and like what you're trying to say is that you're going to put yourself partially in the line of sight to be giving the signal. Like it just seems a little bit. It just seems.
I mean, these are trained. Do you know how long these people train? They're trained to deal with those type of things, and like, I mean, even not to. Do you know what I mean? If it was us standing there and seeing somebody get shot, like literally right in front of us, I think our reactions also would have been totally different. Where, I mean, look at the way they handle it. It's like it's water off a duck's back.
Those are Charlie Kirk's people, though, right? If I'm because that
they are. His vice president and his chief of communications and all sorts of
CIA people. These are Charlie Kirk's people, so they are, in theory, people, members of the public, so to speak. Yeah, I know they've got a bit of a platform.
You don't know what their backgrounds are. They could come from heavy military backgrounds. Like, he's not going to
have.
A
lot of them probably do, right? There's ex-security, probably.
They're not just going to be coming from a head of HR, and you know.
No. They're security guards. Though. They're not. They wouldn't be dealing with, in a sense, intelligence in planning a shooting. In a sense, that's my thinking.
Should we have a little look at one of these other videos? We got. So where did we get to?
I want to talk about the actual shot itself, by the way, at some point, because it's something I did research on.
All right, yeah, plenty of different. So this one here is, I think, and I've titled it "Another Kirk Assass." So I'm guessing it's another angle or something. Let's have a look where we go with it. Yeah, he's grabbed something and put it in his pocket and then given it to one of these guys in maroon, right? Or brown. And then they both fuck off. There's no point with that geezer care about Charlie Kirk. Right?
Like those are just not normal reactions.
Not
Sean,
normal
I've just sent you another video. I don't know if you are able to show it, but it basically also shows his chief of staff, which is in the background of that video, and he's on a mobile phone.
Oh,
And
that
as
cool
the
video,
shot happens and he walks away, and still on the mobile phone, and that's your chief of staff. So yeah, it's just all of his staff there. It's very strange, normal like reactions. You know what I mean? If we were any of our colleagues were shot in front of us.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're shot in front of me, I'll be honest, I'm not going to act weird. I'm just going to run for my life. I'm not really. I love you, Susie. I love you, Perchy, and you, Boogine. But if someone's taking one of you lot out, I'm not trying to grab something. Or I'm not trying to save your life.
Exactly,
I'm out of there.
yeah.
I'm selfish like that. You know, I've got too much to live for. Don't worry about you lot.
But it is, you would either run away or you would run to the person and try and, you know, hold the wound closed or whatever it is. But yeah, it's all very strange. And again, that comes into what I was saying is everybody signaling that they're ready. Like, because even that guy, the two men that were standing on the ends, when that fire, like they just turn around like so blasé as like, do you know what I mean? They're expecting it. It's not something out of the...
Wait, which ones? What, the bald guy that turned around?
Sorry? You know, in the front of the table, so
Yeah.
the very last shot that we saw, the guy who goes around and picks something up.
Hang on, let me...
And even the guy who jumped over the table. I mean, you're jumping over the table. You're not going to Charlie Kirk. You're going to get something. What is he getting? He's getting the footage from the back camera.
Yeah. What are you saying? What are you saying? I'll come to you, Eugene and Perchy. I'm going to upload these videos that Susie just sent me. Eugene?
No, I don't know. It's just too many.
And my only look, I'll play a little devil's advocate for this. My only thinking of this, I'm just trying to think about it, could be that these guys are trained for this situation, right? Now, I'm not saying what I think is right, what I don't, but my thing hear me out in the sense of that these guys, if a shooting happens, this is our job, right? If Charlie Kirk is shot, you are the people that will be there immediately when he's there. You people are there to make sure footage is there, and it is all pre-planned like that. So it's easy for us in hindsight looking, going, this doesn't look right. We have no understanding of the process of if.
That's a very good point.
That's actually, I agree. That's Percy's making sense for once.
It does make sense.
None of us know.
But that's the point that I raised not too long ago, that everybody is trained for that. You're worried about people being too close to the shooter. And now you've just contradicted yourself.
No. My point being though is this: you are trained in the sense of if this happens. My other point your point was that if we're saying that these people are all in on it, that they're going to shoot Charlie Kirk. Why, if you know it's going to happen, you don't want to be there? Is my point. There's a big difference, right? You were there for doing a job if it does happen, but you're not going to stop.
How would that? They didn't even look to see what had happened. They were looking the other way, right? They hear the gun and then they just turn around, and it's not like they observed, went, oh shit, that's just happened. There's going to be some period of time. I hear what you're saying, Perchy. 100%. It's a reasonable point. But there's going to be some period of time where you're going to have to like switch into go mode, right? And I'm not like, again, I'm saying this from a position of they're just trained to do a job in case of emergency. This is what your first role is to do. But they were facing the crowd. They hear a noise. Everyone goes, oh my God. And then they spin around and one guy does the old bonnet slide over the car like he's in like the Dukes of Hazzard or something in the 1980s, and then grabs something, puts it in his pocket, does the old handy shandy thing with his mate there, and then both of them run away. And there was no time at all that they looked or even sort of took a glance at their mate on the floor. They're either incredibly well-oiled machines at doing that, or they knew something. They knew something was going to happen, and they were going into an active mode.
Yeah,
But
what's interesting as well, and again, I mean, you don't know what happens in these situations, but like nobody even looked to see where this bullet had come from or where this shot had come from. Isn't that also like a bit of a natural instinct to hear the sound, because you would hear where that's coming from, and to kind of look and be like, oh my God, there's the sniper.
Well, no, a lot of the kind of, but a lot of these people that are trained not to look in the line of sight, because for all, look, as I said, I don't know what the conspiracy is, but I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think logically with this argument.
Sorry, what's the logic in that though?
Because if the guy's shooting there, you don't look back into the line of sight of where the guy's just shot from, because they could shoot you.
Also,
yeah,
it's
so you
so
need to know
loud.
where he's
Look,
coming from so that you can move.
No.
But if they don't even look to see where he is, how...
because if you watch that video again, they all head was under the table. If you look to that video, watch that video again, everyone left where the line of sight would have been.
But my point is, Jack, if the shot has gone off, nobody's looked up there to think that's where it is. That's where we need to get out. How did they know where that bullet came from? Because nobody looked in that direction. Is my point.
They were straight into some sort of like.
I see. I do get what you're trying to say, but if you watch them though, no one actually gets above the level of the table after. I was trying to watch.
I mean, that's just natural. You duck.
Yeah, that's my point.
The point is, it's nobody looked where that shot had come from or the direction, and then either moved or gone after the sniper like that.
How
Somehow that didn't kick in. Because sorry.
But how can you
How do
tell?
I know?
Look,
We've just
even
seen it.
if you look at the Trump attempt, like the Secret Service, who's trained, right? Like it's so loud.
How bad were
after
they
the
on that
shot
day?
went off, half the people had no clue what was happening, right? So we cannot just say what the reaction should be. None of us know.
Well, but isn't that a good point?
We're not talking about civilians here. We're not talking about the
But
audience.
even
that
them,
was
like,
there.
it's impossible to know where the shot is coming from just by the
If the
sound.
Secret Service didn't know what to do, right? Then how? Like, and they must be trained more in the art of like assassination environment training than Charlie Kirk security would be. What's more likely, the president gets assassinated or some influencer?
Well, that's another rabbit hole to go into, because those ones were fucking shit.
I mean, they're in
They
combat,
were,
but I mean,
yeah.
they know
They
what
had
to
the
do.
woke Secret Service. They had like 5'1" females.
It was very bad. That
no disrespect to 5'1" females, but like,
no, like
I don't want
they know
someone
what
who's
to do.
5'1" defending me.
Like no, like look, the security
When I'm
detail, I'm
president-
sure they're like X, Mossad, CIA, whoever. They know what to do. However, the reaction, like we cannot say whether the reaction is suspicious or not, because we have no idea. Like we're not in that position. So, like they have certain things that they have to follow. They train for it. However, the reaction in that moment, it's hard to say what's suspicious and not, and what's not suspicious.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So we'll park the bit then about the actions of because there's a few other things we're going to look at as well. But the next video I've got that Susie sent me, and big up to you, Susie, for the preparation, by the way, because we've got loads more to get through in terms of like Erica Kirk and also why potentially it might be Israel, the part where Eugene's going to go mental. But before we
actually, you know what? I'm sorry, Sean. Before and again, not just for context, should we talk about why anybody potentially would want to kill him?
Yeah.
Or we get into the details? Because I think
100%.
that gives the context about who profits from this and why would anybody want him dead, right?
Okay.
And like I think that we can then make a logical leap into who it could have been.
Fair enough.
Idea.
Let's just finish off the actual crime scene itself, and then we'll get into the who's, the how's, the whys, and the whats. So this one here is about, I think this is about the crime scene being wiped, because this is another thing that's entirely weird, right? That the crime scene, usually for a crime scene of any kind, there's police tape for a while. You're not supposed to go there. This fucking place was like bulldozed, like Palestine. In about 30 seconds, 30 minutes after the event. Here's a video on it. Right, that might not be the one. Hang on.
I was gonna say, what was I watching?
Well, it was a very similar video, but I think the description was missing. But the whole point of that video was because they completely changed all the paving, they changed the roof, they obviously the trap doors were changed. Basically, the whole entire place was completely, shall we say, renovated, which is
24
obviously
hours
very
later,
unusual
right?
when it comes to a crime scene. Yeah. I mean, especially because it's such a short period after. We're not talking like, this was a few years ago. Like this was literally, what, 3 months ago?
Yeah.
Actually, 3 months today. Ooh.
Yeah, 3 months today. But yeah, but I'm sorry, I must have got the wrong video because the other one was like they showed in detail like all of the like literally 24, 48 hours later. There was even videos people going in like within an hour after it happened. Like, there was probably still blood on the floor and all that stuff after Charlie Kirk gets taken away, and people are in there like pulling down cameras and anything else. Like, and there was loads of footage that was never released. Turning Point USA. Again, this is part of the kind of the suspicious part about it, right? All of the footage that we've seen has come from people that had their phones out, like just members of the public. But Turning Point USA had cameras above Charlie's head. They had cameras that were like left and right of him for their own footage that they use for, for shorts or whatever on their content afterwards. None of that stuff has ever been released, ever. Which to me is like, why not? What's on that footage that isn't, it's not like people are worried about the gore. We've already seen the gore of it, haven't we?
Yeah, like there's a part, but before we know, look, as then I'm not trying to sort of, but maybe out of respect they don't want to release it. Look, if they haven't produced that footage to the police, then I'd be like, now I want to. That's a bit sus, but I hope there's no evidence to say they haven't done that. There's no evidence to say they have done it, if that makes sense as well.
Susie, those two videos the last two videos you sent me, I haven't had a chance to look at them. Are they also crime scene videos or like the on the day videos?
Let me check quickly. So the very one I sent you now, that was the chief of staff on his mobile phone. And then the other ones were the rest were Erica Kirk. So yeah, when we go into that, I suppose.
Let's have a look at this one then. What am I doing here?
Candace Owens is now calling into question TPUSA's chief of staff, Mikey McCoy, behaviors leading up to and immediately following Kirk's shooting. Mikey surprisingly puts his phone up to his ear 0.834 milliseconds after Charlie shot and immediately walks away.
That's crazy. Your boy just got murked. Dude, chief of staff. I'd be like, no! Like this, no! And it wasn't like he was running for he stays on the phone. That's mad sus, bro.
Can't forget about that other guy that jumped over the table.
Yeah, and then this asshole with the glasses, bro. He was, I'm telling you, deep state hit.
That's the weirdest one.
That is weird. But we are to say that is the chief of staff. Do we have confirmation?
Yeah, it is. It is because his dad is like a pastor,
right?
And he said like, the first thing he's talking, he said, my son was like a hero on the day. He had blood all over his shirt, which is a lie because he was out of there like within a 0.1 of a second. He said, and he phoned me, and then he phoned Erica or something to say that something had happened. Right? He said, he phoned Erica within a minute of that happening. That phone up.
Wasn't she there though?
No, she wasn't. She was at home.
No,
Erica
was there with the kids.
She was there.
No, Erica wasn't there. She was at a
wasn't.
doctor's appointment, and she didn't see her phone when it happened.
The kids, his kids were there though.
No, I don't know.
I swear I rehearsed it.
Because there's been interviews of, what's also suspicious, well, obviously when we go into her, was how she found out that he obviously had died.
Yeah, it was the way that, like, the speed, like, so 0.1 second or whatever, it was 0.2 seconds, bang, and then the geezer just starts walking, not running for his life. If he shit himself and went, oh, what was that? You'd run and be
not
like,
even low down and like looking and then running, like trying to like call 911 or whatever it is. Like, yeah,
going straight up and then walking with a purpose. And 3 minutes later, Charlie Kirk was getting like, carried by his mates into the back of that Jeep. And the McCoy fella was like 100 yards further up. You can see it on one of the videos, still on the phone to someone. Like, he must have had some. Like, by the way, how long does it take to get your phone out of your pocket? Even if I said now, go, like something happened, bang, like call your mum. You're gonna have to do this, right? Put your code in first, find your mum or find your dad or whoever, push the thing, and then go. That's gonna take at least 15 seconds.
Yeah.
It was bang and walking. And do you know what? Some nights when I'm absolutely smashed out of my skull walking home from the pub or whatever, and I put my phone to my ear and have fake conversations because I don't want to interact with people when I'm absolutely steaming, and I'm not having a real conversation with anybody, but I like to pretend like I am so that no one's going to talk to me. I don't know if that's something.
Does it get heated, those conversations?
Oh, sometimes, mate. I really go into Tottenham. Yeah, get to talk about exactly what I think about Ange Postecoglou or Thomas Frank. Anyway, my point being that like that the timing, like it's just unnatural. It's unnatural. He either already had something in front of him that was about to make the call, which again doesn't need to be suspicious. But there's a process of opening your phone up and finding the person that you want to call, unless he just happened to have their thing. And how did he know what had happened? He didn't even have time to turn around and witness it. He didn't have any time at all. It was bang, bosh, I'm out the door. He must have known. And his dad lied about his son's behavior. He said his son was a hero and he said his son had blood all over his shirt. None of those things were true because he wasn't there. He was gone before anything happened. He was gone before the blood even landed on the floor. Let's be honest. Eugene?
I mean,
suspicious?
I mean, suspicious, but again, like when you analyze something and you go frame by frame, anything can look suspicious. So on its face, sure. But again, like if there's a conspiracy, he would have known there are cameras on him. He would have known there is footage. So like they would have acted differently. Like he wouldn't be acting suspicious on camera if it was a conspiracy, right? So I don't know.
I kind of agree with what I kind of get what Eugene's saying to an extent. Like, I think it looks really, really dodgy. But equally, I think Eugene makes a point. If you know this is going to happen and this is all premeditated and planned, you're not going to make yourself look dodgy.
Exactly.
You're not.
You would fake it.
So my point is if you know it, like you would almost overreact and be, oh my god, this is horrendous. Like you would almost oversell it, so to speak. As I said, I don't know what. Yeah, I'm trying to use, as I said, logic. If you knew it was going to happen, the last thing you would do is make yourself look like you're involved in this. So I don't know what the reasoning is, but I'm trying to work out why he would do that if he knew it was going to happen.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
internet works. Like if you know that every frame of the video will be analyzed, you're not going to stand there doing some signals.
Everyone's going to record it.
Phone.
Like, it doesn't
like that. It's too amateurish.
Yeah.
If it's a professional hit by
so explain it. Explain why it happens. If it's not suspicious, what is it? How could you have got your phone out and called someone within a half a second?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm saying it does look suspicious. My point is, if it's the plan by intelligence agencies and by the pros, that behavior, like they know what they're doing. They would not look amateurish, right? They would, as Percy said, they would overreact. They would make sure it seems like they're innocent. And the fact
but is the overreacting not amateurish though?
No, but meaning they wouldn't be like doing signals and talking on the phone.
But he wasn't doing a signal. I mean, he was wearing a hat. He looked like a student with his little backpack on, quite inconspicuous, standing right at the back of the tent. And then he walked away as if, I mean, no matter how frame by frame you want to go, how slow or fast you want to go, I don't think you can deny that that is not the correct reaction.
No,
getting on a phone, not even crouching and running, just casually walking away with your phone.
I don't disagree. It's weird. I think what me and Eugene are trying to sort of make the point on this is that if you knew it was going to happen, you wouldn't act that way. Like you would not be casually walking away if you knew that happened. By the way, I think it looks weird, and we can try and delve deeper into why it is. But I think the key point is if this is what people are saying, it's a hit job and it's done by the CIA, or if it's done by Mossad or whoever have done this, you're not going to act that way. Is my point. It doesn't make sense why you would act that way, because it
doesn't make sense you act that way in either event. If it's a surprise,
that's my point. That's my point, though.
That's why I think that he's like he
could have something involved in it.
He's not an actor, right? He's his vice president or whatever of comms or whatever. But I'm sorry, like if you every single one of those people that we've just looked at videos of, none of them look like they are behaving in a shock moment where their best friend or boss or hero or whatever, the CEO, has just had their head blown off. And by the way, we haven't even spoken about that really, about how it is that it just hit him there. Where's the bullet, right? Where's the bullet for a start? There's no bullet that's been found. No bullet has been found. And they obviously we've done this, but they paved over the whole crime scene so that like the shell, the fragment, I don't know. But none of the people that are in his close commune, none of them are acting like any normal person would, like any of the other people did in the crowd, where everybody else went, "What the fuck? Oh my God!" and then either ducked or ran or screamed or whatever, right?
It felt like every single person around him had a purpose.
Yeah.
And I get you train for, like, you know, obviously because he was such a big figure, you train for every eventuality. So like I get, you know, everyone's also reaction is going to be different, but there's just too many. It's not as if there's just one person that's acting a little bit off, then you can kind of think, okay, yeah, that's a little bit coincidental. But the fact that it's everybody, I think that's for me what just doesn't make sense. There's too many what ifs there. Like,
I'm with you.
I know, it's the first time I was going to say you and me agreeing, Shawnee. We're at the top today.
Yeah. Top shelf legends. Top shelf legends. Bottom shelf bozos.
Top shelf legends.
All right, I think I've got one more video here of the shit at the crime scene. Well, I'm not sure what because then we can go into Candace Owens' stuff. Then we can go into Erica Kirk. Then we can also go into the Charlie Kirk thing. I'm not sure what's this.
So is it this Erica Kirk saga?
Kirk. Okay, we'll come back to that one. So, all right, we'll come to Candace Owens in a minute, and we're also going to talk about Tim Pool and that. Although I haven't got Tim, I don't know where Tim Pool's videos are. They're not. They've disappeared off my thing. I need to find them again. This is the video that I've got about Tyler Robinson, because Boojing wants to talk about the who could it be thing, right? Who could it be? So we'll start with Tyler Robinson, shall we? Okay, first of all, was that a UFO?
Oh, of course.
No.
Always aliens. There was a UFO in there, or maybe it was
a drone. I mean, yeah. Let's keep the conversation realistic.
What is this channel evolved to?
It always comes back to aliens in the end, Susie. It always comes back. You know what we're doing here. All right, Scott, come on then, Boojing. Talk to me. Who do you think Who do you,
Let
so
me-
you want to talk about the potential candidates of who could want him killed, right?
Let me just say this. This is not 1950s or 60s. If CIA or Mossad, they want you dead, they're not going to be shooting at you with a rifle from a rooftop. You're going to be, or the KGB. You know how KGB kills people, right?
Yeah, like a heart attack.
They
dart
poison
or-
him, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
develop some cancer that kills you like next day. So their methods, like Mossad, is really good at killing people. CIA is really good at killing people. They will not take a chance of shooting at somebody from the rooftop with the footage being there. So that's why, for me, if it was a sinister plot by some intelligence agencies, even if it was like Charlie Kirk was not big enough for them to care about him. But even if you think he was, when intelligence agencies get involved, you die in a car accident, you die from a poison, whatever. Like, there are much better ways to kill you and not be on camera with somebody like signaling or talking on the phone. So for me, that seems like, for example, like Antifa, like these organizations, like left-wing organizations who, like, and also if you think about it, like, who would benefit from this? The whole talk about, the gun violence, taking the guns away, right? There are certain narratives that Charlie Kirk was against, and he was shot right when somebody asked him about the gun violence. So I think that's the issue that's in play. So their internal, like, radical left-wing organizations in the US, which are more likely to do this than any intelligence agency, just the way it was executed.
There's more. There's simpler ways for very sophisticated people to kill you if they want to, right? And make it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a car accident.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Is there also not the other side though, that there's a benefit to the? Well,
sorry.
You sound like Sava.
I know. Apologies.
Is it possible?
No, Gene.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm going to call your name and change it to No Gene now. Is it not possible, No Gene, that they wanted a public execution? That it could have been organized by sophisticated groups of people that do want that could do it an easier way, that could do it in a more clandestine kind of covert means, but that doesn't have the desired impact. That the desired impact was for it to look like it was done by a left-wing lunatic, so again to cause division, again to get people arguing with each other or whatever else. But if it was done in a different way, if it was done via a random heart attack that a 29-year-old guy would be very unlikely to have. The guy's never smoked, he's never drunk any alcohol, he's never touched a drug, peak of physical fitness, intelligent guy, yada yada yada. So all of a sudden have a heart attack would be suspicious in and of itself, right? Is it that it's possible for people to have many ways to kill someone, some are more sophisticated than the others, but to choose one that's a bit more rudimentary in an effort to push another agenda, to allow there to be this idea of division, that it's the left versus the right, and again, people fighting here, stop looking up where they should be. For me, the whole thing about left versus right is wrong. Everybody should be. It's not me versus you. It's us versus them. That's what I think, right? But all of these little squabbles are a way to continue that narrative and to distract you from the bigger problems in life.
But with Charlie Kirk alive or dead, I don't think it would have made it. Those divisions are still there, right? I don't think. I get your point.
Charlie Kirk was a future president, mate. I know he wasn't big in the UK because obviously he's a Republican and he's got like very conservative, American conservative views around abortion and all those sorts of things. So in the UK, he's probably not. He was never going to be on TV in the UK, right? He was never really. He was a kind of a YouTuber or whatever, or on alternative media. But like in America, he was a massive deal.
He's raised he's massive
though. He's massive. Like Turning Point USA is the biggest Republican movement.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk was massive in America.
You cannot compare him to Tucker, for example. Like Tucker is massive. So if you actually wanted to do something, he would be the guy. There are many more influencers.
Tucker Carlson's not a politician. Tucker Carlson's a journalist. This guy was going into universities, right? The liberal movement, the sort of democratic movement, you've heard the phrase like, if you're young and you're a conservative, you have no heart. If you're old and you're a Republican, if you're old and you're a liberal, you have no head. Right, that phrase, right? So like the sort of the democratic movement in life has in every country, the left-wing movement is to get into the schools and poison their minds with liberal thought processes, because once you get them at a young age, you can indoctrinate them. Charlie Kirk was literally going around universities that have been filled their heads with left-wing propaganda forever. And turning them around with his logic. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, he was having a massive impact. That organization is huge, was huge, and he was 100% going to be a president of the United States if he was carrying on the trajectory that he was going on with. So the notion that he like killing him is not a big deal, it for me is like he was a massive deal, huge deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal, but I'm just saying on the spectrum of conservative influencers like Tucker, if he runs, he can be a president as well. So just on the scale of conservative influencers, he was not at the top, right? He was rising, but if you look at exposure,
they speak very differently, don't they? And I think I get what Sean's saying though. Charlie Kirk spoke in a very polished politician way. If that does that kind of make sense?
He also went out in public, right? He went to the Lion's Den and took people on and said, I'm happy to debate you. Whereas everybody else stays in their little encampments online and they stay in their echo chambers, right? Like left-wing people don't really watch right-wing media. Right-wing media people don't really watch left-wing media. He would literally go out and say, challenge me.
Against the parapet.
Me, you know? Fair. So he was like, I think that he was as big as Tucker Carlson, just in a different guise. And the fact that he was converting so many young people to believing in the kind of Republican way, which is just no one else was doing it, taking him out served many purposes, 100%. But it doesn't mean that it could easily be just been a left-wing lunatic. It could easily have been Antifa. It could have easily been any number of people doing it. But the notion that, he wasn't a big enough deal for the CIA or for Mossad or for anyone else to really, or anybody, the Democratic Party to care about, that's not true.
I kind of agree with you, Sean. But then the argument is then if it is a organization, who is the one that is, as I say, involved in? Well, what are the nominations? So it sounds really like an award. It's not, but like who benefits politically or any ideology way of him being dead? Because I hear Mossad. What did Mossad gain from Charlie Kirk being dead?
So Israel, generally speaking, were massive donors or Jewish donors, right? Massive donors to TP USA, to Turning Point USA. 90% of their money came from donors, and obviously with that they had certain specific talking points or narratives that they wanted to push. I'm not saying this is what happened, Eugene, at all. I don't know. I'm just saying that this is the argument that's represented in the days leading up to his assassination. There's lots of evidence that has been shown of him having text message conversations with people that were his friends, and him saying, I can't stand by anymore and watch Israel do what they're doing in Palestine. And so he was talking about it. He was calling them out. He called them out on Ben Shapiro's show, who's obviously a massive, a huge, pro-Israel guy, obviously Jewish guy. And he was saying, is it possible that that the media is not being fully true with us on the way that what's happening in the Middle East is being presented? And apparently, like even the day or 2 or 3 days before, Tucker Carlson, who'd also started to question Israel's role in that whole war and what they were doing out there, Tucker Carlson went up to him and said, "Look, I know that I know your thing. You've got a lot of donors, so don't worry. I won't provoke the Israel conversation when I go and do my speech," because he was the sort of the guest kind of speaker of honor or whatever for that particular show. And what's his name? And Charlie Kirk said, no, say what you want. Go for it. Like, absolutely go for it. And there was messages that he'd sent to Candace Owens saying, fuck these donors. I'm not going to be silent anymore. So the notion that Israel would do something to him would, like, before that stuff came out, was like, why would they do it? Right. Like he was a massive Israel proponent. He was Yeah, a huge like first of all a receiver of the donors, and secondly pushing the kind of the Judeo-Christian values and all that stuff. And he was all very positive. That all of that changed in the days and weeks leading up to his assassination.
Well, so what could have changed? Again, like if there was something he was thinking about, it wasn't public, right? So what has changed potentially would be his views on the war, right? But that, like most people, those views are changed. Like in every college and university, there are protests against the war, right? A lot of political figures are against the war. It doesn't mean that he was anti-Israel, right? Because all the, you know,
He wasn't anti-Israel.
Right, exactly. So that's my point, right? So being against the war is different than like what
he
Candace
started
is
to
doing.
speak out about it, and the donors were saying to him, "Wait, remember who pays your bills?" And he went,
But
well, fuck you
AIPAC,
then.
so let me just go back for a minute. AIPAC, it's the Jewish or the Israeli lobby, right? They control most of Congress, right? So they donate money to everybody. That's the whole point. They donate to Democrats, they donate to Republicans. They want to have influence within the political process of the US. So them donating money to him, that's nothing out of the ordinary. And him coming out against the war, personally, I don't think it's not a needle mover. I don't think it's that big of a deal, because even within Israel, the war is not popular. Like it's not right. Do you know what I mean?
If all of those donors have given him hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to his organization with the expectation that certain narratives are off limits and certain movements have to be pushed, and then it's the same in any walk of life. In any work, it's a much more extreme version, right? If your boss says, "I'll give you the promotion," right? You've done well, and you're my boy, you're my mentor, and then as soon as you get the promotion, you throw him under the bus. What's your boss going to do? He's going to go, "Fuck you." And I helped you get where you are. Like you are where you are because of the money that I've given you, or the opportunities I've given you. And then so I'm either gonna take the last chance I can before you. I'm gonna throw you under the bus. I'm gonna engineer your way out of the organization. It's politics, but in that world, it's probably super extreme politics. That if you take all the money that the Jews have given you, you turn around and say, listen, what Jews are doing to the Palestinians is a fucking outrage, and no one should be okay with it, which tries to then turn the public opinion of all of the newly converted young students of the world who are going Republican, but he's trying to move the narrative to be like the Republican Party of the future can't really be on board the Israeli stuff, the Zionist stuff. There's every chance these people are going to go, fuck that ungrateful guy. And he's still, by the way, he's still as popular, he's still as influential, and we might lose our grip on the future of the Republican Party if he has his way and he's going against us, and he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us. And these people, not just Israel people, but anyone in that power, for anyone, left and right, they are all more than willing to kill people, to move their agendas. That's not a Jewish thing. That's just a power.
No, I know, but look, hold on. What I'm saying, this war thing, I think it's a separate thing. For like 90% of all the students in all the universities are already against the war, whether they're Republican or Democrat. The student, like everybody's against the war. In the US right now, 80% of the people are against the war. So, and the war is going to come to an end soon. So the point is, it's very short-sighted to say, he was killed because he was anti-war, right? He was still pro-Israel. He was still a Zionist. He was still right on board with everything else. So the war itself, in my opinion, given the mood in the US, given the mood in the universities, it was not a risk to Israel that anything is going to change. There is more risk of killing him and swinging the sentiment, even more radically the other way, right? Like, it's not like he said, I don't like Israel, I'm not going to support him. No, it's strictly about the war. And I don't think the war is that.
I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure that's true, though, mate. I think
that's my opinion.
There's a lot of evidence that's come out to suggest that that's not the case. I do have some videos, but before I've been talking, I had a lot, so I want to bring Susie and Perchy and Eugene. You're more than welcome to talk, but I've been talking far too much, as always. Standard Butler. Just quickly, I didn't even see this, Marzi. Tom, thank you so much, mate. New member of the show. New member, Choo Choo. That's not Choo Choo, is it? But it is a new member thing. So welcome to the Aliens group, mates. And you are obviously, like everybody else, you're more than welcome to join the members only show at the end of the channel, at the end of the show, probably easily at the end of the channel after tonight's already faux pas talking about the B word right within the first 2 minutes of the thing going. Channel's done, guys. Get in while you can. Enjoy it while it lasts, or whilst it lasts. Susie, I'll bring you in. I do have obviously some of these videos you sent me regarding some of these takes on. I mean, I think there's one here about Charlie Kirk and his Israel thing. But what would you like to say first before we get into it?
No, I was just going to say, no, I mean, he was very open that it was kind of about Israel's influence in Washington. And that's why he kind of rejected the donations from Israel. So I think that's kind of kicked everything off, whether we want to believe that or not. I mean, it's come from his himself. So I don't think we can argue with that.
All right. Shall I play a video?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
Just quickly, this channel's definitely got something that's happened because like 50% of the people that were watching this video just dropped off in the last 5 minutes.
Really I've been suppressed. Suppression is real, boys.
There was 90 people here like 2 minutes ago, and now it's at 50 or 55. What's going on? Where have you gone, people? Where have you gone?
Don't be silenced. You people, we're here.
Sorry, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I gotta run.
Okay, mate. Okay.
Save the juice stuff for me.
Amazing.
He's had a word with Mossad.
Oh, yeah.
My handler is calling me. It's like, hey, the talking points. I gotta get on board.
What was I going to say? Yeah, that's the first one, right? So he started calling out the Israel thing with the war and like questioning that. Maybe that's a little bit of is there suspicions there for you guys?
Well, no, and I think that's kind of what I said before, because he's been very vocal about that. I think they wanted to give him donate like $150 million, and he rejected it. No, it was like a ridiculous amount that he kind of just said to that. I mean, he says it's so nice, like Netanyahu. I can't say it very well.
Netanyahu.
Oh, Netanyahu. Don't know.
Well, you said it better than I did.
Oh.
Netanyahu.
That's weird. Now the numbers are coming back.
See, it's Eugene. It's Eugene. Eugene's suppressed.
On his shoulder. So strange.
Your camera's gone very blurred.
Whose?
Yours? Is it just me? Jack looks very blurred.
Yeah, Perchy, you've gone blurry, mate.
See, look, I tell you, the suppression is real, baby. The suppression is real. Huh? What did you say?
I said you look better when you're blurred. I'm just joking.
Wow.
No, he's getting the stick there. Nice one. He's gone on Perchy. Oh, come back. Oh, what's going on? Your camera is yeah. Sorry, go on.
Maybe we should move into the misses.
Yeah, we can. Let me see. I've got this order here of video. So we've got Candace Owens stuff as well. Should we look at Candace first? And then
well, she exposes a lot of Erica anyway. So
let's have a look at some of these Candace stuff because I've also got to show you the if I can find it. I don't know why I haven't got it, but the Tim Pool meltdown.
I sent it to you.
I know. I don't know why it hasn't uploaded. I'm going to go and get it again.
Yeah.
I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me and my family, that are threatening us to sue us. Everything that Kanye said was so real. Okay. I'm now at that point where you look back and you go, man, Kanye was right. He was really saying something about what it takes to leave, to fight for custody of your own soul. Just leave me alone. Let me say what I believe and you say what you believe. Fight fair. Why do you always have to make this threat to bankrupt people? And I want you to know that those people, if anything happens to me, they have my explicit permission to release it all, detonate it all, expose all of these people in politics and in the movement who behave like this behind the scenes. It's necessary. And I highly recommend every single person that is out there and has a platform and is going through things and is scared, do the same.
Yeah. So I know Eugene wasn't a big fan of Candace.
What's that, Gene?
But I have a lot of respect for Candace, though. I just think she just speaks the truth. And I mean, she has obviously grown in popularity, of course. But I just think she exposes a lot of what other people are not willing to expose. So she's got a lot on her head, essentially, which is obviously why she has these plans in place that she knows she could go at any time and everything will be released, which I think you need to in her position.
Yeah, I 100% think that she's a very, very intelligent person, super intelligent person. I think that there's legitimacy to a lot of the things that she says, but the notion that she is, well, how do I say this? I think that a lot of the questions she's asking are fair and legitimate. No one else seems to be wanting to do it even in the right-wing conservative media. Nobody seems to be willing to question to the detail she is. She might be going far too far. Maybe she's obviously got a huge ego recently because she's now the #1 podcast in America or whatever, #1 political podcast, and she starts to celebrate all that shit. I'm sure she's making a lot of money out of it. As soon as you sort of latch on to a winning method or a winning model, you're going to double down on it. So there's definitely that motivation and incentive, 100%. I'm sure she's probably wrong on a lot of the things, and to investigate in open forum and then say it might be this, it might be that, it might be the other. She's also incredibly clever with the way that she words her things. I was watching this like a reaction video, but from a legal perspective of her take on the French dude Macron's wife and whether or not she's a man, right? And so she got sued in court, sued to go to court, right? But she won, and Piers Morgan, made a bet of like $200,000 or something to say it will get thrown out of court, like you'll be sued and you'll lose or whatever. And she said, okay, we'll take that bet. But the way it was sort of written was that I won, therefore she's a man, as I said. But in actual fact, she wasn't successfully sued because of the way that she worded her accusations. It was incredibly clever in the way that she said things, inferred things without actually saying it. So the litigation didn't succeed. but that doesn't mean that the girl's a guy, right? And so, and I think that she's doing similar sorts of things here. She's very clever to be able. She never never ums. Everything she does is live. All of her streams are live, but she's very, very clever in the way that she words things to get around, like to make assumptions, to make assertions, to inference, all those sorts of things without actually saying anything outright, to avoid the possibility of litigation. And the thing that I find weird is that everybody else in right-wing media hasn't got on board the same storylines as she is, despite the fact that she's making as much money as she is. Everybody else, from Tim Pool to Stephen Crowder to even Jimmy Dore. Now, Jimmy Dore's like a complete grifter. He's actually probably more like he takes the piss out of everybody, out of all. But he's left leaning, but he takes the piss out of all content, out of all the politics. But all they do, rather than talking about it from the same perspective she does, they just talk about her talking about it, right? So they're trying to make money by titling everything. Candace Owens says this. Candace Owens is accusing him of that, and repeat what they said, and just basically show clips of her content. She's willing to actually go and put and move the needle and push that kind of theory out there. But there's not another person in the conservative media who's really supporting her, apart from that gay guy who's got a Greek name. What's his name? He was on Tim Pool the other day. He's an English guy who was cancelled. He's super gay guy. I can't think of his fucking name. But anyway, everybody else is basically distancing themselves. They're all saying that she's a crackpot lunatic and she's being outrageous. And I find that odd. To me, I find it weird that nobody else is coming at it from the same angle. They're all conservative. They all loved Charlie Kirk, but none of them are saying, and they're all basically saying that she's wrong on every level. But yet we all agree that there's a hell of a lot of suspicious things about that story. So, you know,
but I think that is what's interesting as well, because she is the only one who is asking the questions, who is trying to dig for answers. And, you know, I feel, I mean, obviously how I interpret it a lot as well is I do think that she doesn't necessarily have all the answers, but she's very clear with that when she does speak. Like, I don't know this, but surely, like, she just thinks out loud essentially sometimes. But I mean, she's got a lot of connections. So when she does have information, like, she does share it. And she's the only person who does that. So I think in that sense, that's why she has credibility for me personally. Obviously, everybody is different. But, you know, for instance, even his wife, I mean, she's not made a big hoo-ha about this. And, you know, if your husband had been assassinated or murdered, whatever you want to call it, like, she's kind of just going on as business as usual. But I mean, she's not really trying to uncover why this has happened, who's done it, like, you know, put as much publicity on it as possible, where I think Candace is trying to put as much publicity on it, especially because she was so close to him.
Yeah, there's definitely something odd about her, though, right? Have you know her family, her father, and like her mother was like part of Raytheon. She was like a vice president.
Yeah, Erica's mom. Yeah.
Erica's mum was a part of the senior vice president of Raytheon, and her dad was like also involved in defense and like security companies that were really like high, like top secret sort of levels of access. Yeah. Like that family is not like you're just a typical girl next door family.
They're well connected. Yeah.
Well connected into the sorts of people that would maybe engage in those sorts of conversations. Like, hey, listen, do you want your daughter to be the head of the company under a new vision? And by the way, look, you know, your son-in-law, he's not playing ball anymore. He's decided to call out the people like the Zionist movement, right? And you know, $150 million has gone into that direction. It's a lot of money, and you have to pay the piper. That's the way it works, right? Like, I'm listening to this book called Hope and Tragedy and Hope, right? And it's an unbelievable. I spoke about it on the last show. It's unbelievably kind of boring book, but it's frittered with like all this insight into essentially the way that power works and the pursuit of money and how you can like engineer certain situations. And Cecil Rhodes was one of the guys that started it, and Lord Milner, and this guy called Mandel House, and it's like it's all about like handling money and then essentially putting into place certain mechanisms whereby more and more money falls into fewer and fewer hands, and then they can use that money through clandestine means to be able to manipulate outcomes where they gain power and control in their own ends. Like, it's exactly the same thing that's happening here. There's different groups of powerful people around the world that are all trying to squabble over power, and they're all using money to essentially, like, people like Charlie Kirk were essentially useful idiots. I'm not calling him an idiot; he was a smart guy, but like useful idiots in the grand scheme of things. That he can die and someone else will replace him.
Yeah, you're useful until you don't serve a purpose anymore. Yeah.
Right, and if he got too big for his boots and went, fuck the donors, I'm not going to be silent. My conscience is, then they go, oh, fuck you. Then we'll get someone else in place. So, should we have a look at the Charlie Erica Kirk thing?
Because the thing is, I don't know if you would think that your family wouldn't necessarily do this. And I'm not saying the family have done this. I'm just saying there's a lot of questionable things. So the same as this sort of whole, everybody around him, there's just so many questionable things that are happening and some behaviors in public that just don't seem to make sense in this kind of scenario.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's right to discuss these things. I mean, it doesn't matter what we're discussing, but I don't resent Candace Owens from doing it, but a lot of people in the conservative media thing do. Should we have another look at one of these videos and see where it goes?
A mere minutes after Charlie Kirk is shot, there are two men that look rather mysterious. They appear, they move his chair, and they take down the camera that's directly or was directly behind his head. Why did they do that? You can see, slowed down here, he pulls out the chair, he stands on it, and yes, that would be a big no-no for a crime scene. You don't move anything. He takes down the camera that is directly above where Charlie was sitting and would be able to provide, therefore, a lot of insight. And then you can see he kind of sits the camera onto the desk, and it looks like he removes the SIM card from it, or the SD card, if you will. So I'm going when I saw this footage, who is that? Like, actually, I should be able to figure this out because I've got a pretty big network at Turning Point USA. The person's wearing shades. I'm not recognizing the individual. And I reach out to somebody on the inside and I'm just like, who's this person? And they tell me the person's name and I go, oh, wait a second. And I look again. I'm like, I know this person because it's been a few years, but I know this person. This person's been around Turning Point for quite some time. And I'll say this right now. He was extremely forthcoming. Like, as soon as I reached out, I just sent a text because I still had his number, and he was extremely forthcoming, immediately got onto the phone. Then I asked, okay, well, what about this camera thing? Why would you grab the cameras? And he says, because the first thing that I thought is that I better secure the footage and be helpful and hand that footage over to the feds. Well, obviously that's where things get into a pickle with me because we don't trust the feds. I'm like, just send me the footage. Please let me look at it. There's a lot of conspiracies that are floating around right now. People don't know what to believe. I said, look, I'm not going to publish it. I just want to see it. And I think you should let me see that because people trust me. They know that I'm very serious about this. So in the short run, he agrees that rather than send the footage, he will get onto a FaceTime call with me and he will show me the footage on his computer. He did that, and I watched the footage, and I'm going to tell you what I saw. First and foremost, there is nothing gory about this shot at all. And so, again, I am still going to work with him to get me the footage so that I think it should be shared. There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood from the back. I'm very confused, not by what I saw, but what I didn't see. Okay? That's pretty much all I can tell you right now.
How's there no blood then?
Yeah, so you see, I've watched this as well a few times because I told you about.
Did she actually release? Did she release that footage later? Did she?
No, she hasn't. No, but there's been other footage online from the back, and that's where I told you I saw the other guy pull up his sleeve. What's also interesting, when he gets shot as well, his necklace that he's wearing just bursts, but nothing touches the necklace. Like, it's such a weird shot. And or angle rather, like shot is used in two ways there, but like it just doesn't make sense the way that he's hit. But then I've also seen, and this is a conspiracy theory for conspiracy theorists, that
Love it.
actually this whole thing, he's still alive, and this whole assassination is a
Hold
conspiracy
up.
theory, because they talk about his shirt and like he's actually got a blood pack underneath and all of this. But I mean, yeah, I was like, oh, I don't want to go down that
Hang
route.
about.
I don't
Oh, I
know.
can't talk about aliens, but you can talk about he's still alive. What, is he on an island somewhere with old Epstein? He's still alive as well, is he?
That is
What
the
are we doing
rumor.
What are we doing?
But no,
here?
but anyway, like yeah, seriousness. But yeah, the whole shot doesn't make sense. But we've spoken about it as well, because he for the weapon that they used and the impact wound, like it doesn't correlate, does it?
I agree.
Different.
And then you got some people that are saying one of the angles from the guy from the side had like some phone, like a one shot bullet gun, like a palm. I think they call it a palm gun, and like he sort of does this thing, like does that, and it kind of shoots out. I don't know how that would work though, because the entry wound or whatever it was on the other side of him. And then you've got the other guy that's in the front row that's doing something weird, and then there's other people saying that it's actually the lanyard, right? It's not the lanyard, the like the microphone itself that has got something in. But again, the microphone's on this side, and if the exit wound's here, some people think that's the entry wound or whatever, and that's just, and then he goes. But again, no exit wound. So there's only one wound, right? The one wound is this side. So if it's coming from, if it's one of these clever new devices, like the Israelis managed to put bombs inside all of the pages that the Hamas were using, right? And they blew them up and killed loads of people about, I don't know, a year and a half ago. So the technology to like recreate working devices that look like normal phones or normal pages or normal microphones or whatever else, I'm sure they can be converted into guns or bombs or whatever else. I'm sure that stuff is feasible. But to me, if you're going to shoot someone from here, or if you're going to shoot someone, if the only wound is here, comes in, and then the blood comes here, then if you're going to shoot someone from this side, which is where his microphone was, you'd need an entry thing here first to come out the other side. If you're going to shoot someone with the type of caliber rifle that they said that the original story had, that would have blown his head off. His neck would have been completely blown. There's no evidence that he was wearing a bulletproof vest. No one's shown the bulletproof vest with the damage to it. That hasn't been seen. Right? None of it makes sense unless he was hit with like a much smaller bullet from a much closer distance that literally just went in, and then that was it. Because all of the stories regarding what it possibly could have been, even if it was the conspiracy with regards to a shooter in the crowd from a different angle, none of those things make sense unless it was someone that was shooting. If that was where if this is where the bullet hit him and that was the entry wound, then the bullet would have had to have come from that side. But it also would have had to have been a lot smaller, and it would have had to have been a lot closer. So someone closer. But you'd see all the footage. You'd see a puff of smoke. You'd see something. You'd see some flash. You'd see something from the crowd, and there's been absolutely no footage. So on every level, there's a hole in the story for me.
Yeah,
every
absolutely agreed.
Welcome back, No Gene.
I talked to my people. They said they're not responsible.
Yeah. By the way, someone said in the comments, Sean, you should put up a disclaimer that the views expressed on I might actually put a ticker up. The views expressed on this show are of Eugene's creation and Eugene's only. The rest of us are just saying for shits and giggles, and we do not stand by any of our opinions.
It's not going to help you.
It's too late, is it? We've crossed the line.
Gene is going to sort us out.
Just no. Go ahead. I'll just respond.
Oh, here we go.
No. I was thinking while I was taking a drive. I was just thinking through certain things, but it's okay.
Oh, could it have been that? Could it have been the not the spaceship? The
aliens killed Charlie Kirk. There we go. We've solved the case.
That makes more sense than Mossad.
Matt Cox is being particularly dismissive of our story tonight. He's chiming in every 3 minutes, just saying, by the way, guys, I've made up my mind. There's nothing to see here. So therefore, I'm going to be a donut the entire show, just telling you all laughing emojis at everything that you say. I see you, Matt. I see you. And by the way, bro, you've got a big day of predictions to figure out on Friday. So maybe you need an early night, because unless you get 15 points on Football Inc., you're in the mud, bro. And I've got a jingle just for you. Let me pivot to this next. You want to do some Erica Kirk stuff?
Yeah, go on then.
I'll do Erica.
Why not?
Do you think they've caught your husband's killer?
So, something I'm so grateful for is that we have one of the most incredible teams for this case. I would never wish it.
You mean Cash Patel? You mean that team? Cash Patel. Okay, I guess that's what she means. They have an incredible team. I think that's what she means.
Upon anybody to have to go through what we are going through. To have seen the autopsy report. To have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected. I trust our team.
If anybody has seen the autopsy report, could you please explain to me how a 30-06 bullet doesn't have an exit wound? Can you please explain that to me?
Because Can I use miracles to explain it?
And don't use miracles.
Ah. Well, then you're not going to be satisfied with any evidence. If I can't tell you about miracle neck bones.
That's my jumping off point. Where's the bullet? And how come a 30-06 didn't have an exit wound and didn't completely blow his head off?
Before we talk about it, can we just talk about the guy with the cap looked very much like Sean? Like,
do you know that guy is the greatest guy ever?
He's the GOAT.
He is so good.
Is the GOAT.
I thought it was Sean after just not shaving.
He's wearing a hat with a wig. He smokes a fake cigar, a fake pipe as well. He is the GOAT of all conspiracies. He's read every book. He's got wild ADHD. If you watch him on a channel, no one can control him. He's employed by Jimmy Dore to go on his show for 3 times a week, and he just chimes in and he's very funny. He's a comedian. But whenever Jimmy Dore goes away on holiday or on trips to do his live shows, he doesn't allow Kurt to do the hosting of the show because he's an absolute lunatic. So he brings somebody else in who's like just a contractor to host the show because Kurt is just uncontrollable. He's fucking brilliant though. He's so good. Best. I'm going to see if I can get him on the channel for sure.
But can I be serious for a minute?
What's that?
Let me be about her, this whole thing. Maybe I missed something, but
yeah.
Banter aside, I just want to it makes me actually really annoyed that all the conspiracies about her and and that's why I'm annoyed with Candace. It's she lost a husband, her kids lost a father, right? And now and I love Jimmy Dore as well. However, all these public investigations and saying, oh, how come she doesn't react this way? How come she doesn't do this? Nobody knows what she's going through, what's happening in the background, who's investigating what's happening. So playing out and expecting her to have a public investigation when it's impacting her kids and her family, to me, that's sick. And that's why what Candace is doing is not right. You can have all these conspiracies about Mossad, CIA. That's one thing, but actually questioning, especially if they were friends, questioning a spouse and I don't know. To me, that's wrong.
So what I would say, sorry, I keep saying Noji. I'm sorry. Change his name back, please. What I would say though, Candace was very supportive of Erica when this first happened, and she made sure to tell people don't go after her. We can't judge her reactions and all of these type of things. I think that's slowly started to shift because there's been so much information that's come out and so many, I say dodgy, but just really questionable things. I mean, even at his what was that event that they did, and she hugged, the way she embraces certain men is a little bit strange.
Touching the hair a little bit.
Come on, yeah, you don't hold a man's head, you know, if you're not in a romantic relationship with them. That's not how you hug a male colleague. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of things that have come out. You know, the way she talks as well. I mean, even at his memorial, she talks about forgiving the shooter. How, again, she doesn't know who it was. So how is she forgiving someone when she doesn't know who it is? So there's just a lot of things that
But
just don't make sense, really.
but
So I don't think
everyone
anyone's necessarily saying she's involved or she's done it, but you've got to start like putting the dots together, and it just doesn't make sense. Her actions don't really.
But grieving is different for every single person. I just don't think it's anybody else's business to question how she grieves, whether it looks right, whether it doesn't look right. Like, everybody forgets, yes, he was a celebrity, he was an influencer, but ultimately he was a family man with a family, right? So that comes first. So
Yeah, and
just
she's
looking
pregnant
at
still.
how
Yeah,
she
yeah.
hugs people and what she does, like, again, there could be a conspiracy. I'm not saying all that's false, but to me personally, it's sleazy to generate views and clicks at the expense of a woman who
Candace
lost
hasn't
a
done that
husband.
though, has she? Candace hasn't gone after. Candace has stopped short of saying anything's dodgy about Erica.
Yeah, but she's implying it. Same thing as with Tim Pool. Like, she's not gonna say it, but the way she goes about it, it's implied, right? So there's a lot of
Yeah, but
things that she's
what's the Tim
implying.
Pool thing? We've like because she put Tim Pool on that thumbnail a couple of
Yeah.
days ago, saying like who stands to gain from
Exactly.
Charlie Kirk's death, and then he
It's
went
generally
he went ape
like,
shit, didn't he? He went
if you
fucking.
accuse him. Don't imply it without anything else. And then
And the only
people,
reason why she used him in the thumbnail was because he attacked her first. So that's why she put it in the thumbnail.
oh, what did you say? I don't think you did.
He's
I
been calling.
think
He's been calling her like. He's been saying that she's fucking lunatic. She's outrageous. But this is the thing. I don't understand. What's the benefit? Like, why? Like, why is there so much anger at her for doing like amateur investigation? I think that he's just a little bit jealous because I don't like Tim Pool, right? I think he's a massive egomaniac. I think he's also a child. Like if you watch his shows, sometimes I go to bed watching them when his shows for the couple of weeks in the year when the times are a little bit different and they start at 11. They usually start at 1 a.m. over here. But sometimes if I'm still awake or if I wake up in the middle of the night and it's still going at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever, by the last hour of the show, once he's done all of his like the news things where he's all very proper and everything, he then starts talking about skateboarding on every show. He starts talking about anime and all this shit. He's like a bit of a child in a man's body. He's obviously very intelligent and well read on the news stuff, but he also has he says things are fact. He says things like he gives analogies that just don't make any sense. I don't rate him personally. I think he's well above his own station. Not like fair play to him for doing what he's doing and for the success that he's had. But I also think he's a wild egomaniac who has probably overextended himself with all of his different financial obligations for those big properties that he's bought. And I think that he's super pissed off that Candace has flown past him in the popularity stakes in terms of like right leaning media outlets. A lot, because why would it piss you off so much? Like, if you don't want to talk about it, if you don't believe it's a fucking conspiracy, if you think that there's nothing to see here, then just get on with your job. Talk about whatever Trump's done today. Talk about whatever else is going on. But instead, you're always talking about Candace, and you've got so much anger, so much like venom towards her. Why? Because she believes whether it's for clicks or whether it's legit, because she's getting popular, she's getting views from talking about a topic that you don't want to cover. Okay, fucking talk about something else. Why are you so angry, bro? Why are you so angry? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Again, I don't watch his show, but I don't know if he's been talking about her per se. I don't know. Maybe he was, but like it just I don't know. Like when she's saying, "Oh, these people want to kill me. I have a source that this like French legionnaire plus the like." It's so nuts at this point. Like if they want to kill her, they're gonna kill her. Like I don't know. It just seems like she's self-promoting, and since she was fired by Ben Shapiro, she has this axe to grind, and she's right about a lot of things, probably. But again, it just doesn't feel right when it's obviously she has an agenda, and it doesn't matter to her who stands on the way. And again, like with the family stuff, to me, it just feels sleazy personally. With the Tim Pool stuff, I don't care about it. They can go at each other. It's irrelevant. But when it comes to the family,
he was so fucking angry. I know he
well,
said
because
that like
the thumbnail though, not before. Before, I don't think he talked about her.
He did. He said
Did?
said
Talks
something
about her
about
every
her
night.
first, which is why he put her on the which is why she put him on the thumbnail. And then he just went like
he wasn't the
absolutely
only
mental.
person though. He wasn't the only person that went after her. Stephen Crowder went after her, and she didn't put him on the thumbnail, Susie.
I don't know why she's picking certain people, but all I know is that he spoke about her before, which is why she put him on the thumbnail.
But like, it's different to say somebody's wrong, right? Because I mean, that's what they all do, right? That's what that's how they get their viewers. You can disagree with somebody, however, implying that this person had something to gain from Charlie Kirk's death, that's different, right? You can say, I disagree, she's great, like she's not correct or he's not correct. That's fair game. However, implying without any evidence and then saying, oh, I didn't say anything. No, you put him in a thumbnail, which implies he had something to gain from it. Like, that's not right. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different
he's
level.
saying the same thing about her, though. He's saying she's the one who's benefiting the most.
But she's keeping it going. So I'm also saying, again, whether she's right or not, she's the only one who's keeping this going. For whatever reasons, that's up to her. Again, I think those are selfish reasons. She is a self-promoter. However, it is what it is. But implying something without any evidence, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's fishy.
So can I ask another question, though? If it wasn't for her, would we have all forgotten about Charlie Kirk's situation already?
100%.
Because I kind of feel like she's the only one who's sort of keeping it in the limelight and keeping it relevant, where otherwise these things just become part of history. Because as I say, his missus is not doing that. She's not continuously highlighting this situation. Yes, she's highlighting their cause. She's highlighting turning point, but she's not highlighting him and what happened to him.
But
I think
that's
that's the whole suspicious point. She is doing that. She's keeping the situation relevant, so people are still like curious about it, looking into it, and what happened. Want to know who did this, and bring them to justice.
But why would, again, like, I'm just asking a question, I have no idea, but like, if you lose somebody close to you, again, I'm just playing a devil's advocate, like, why would she want to have this play out in the public and have this out there, the dirty laundry out there every single day, right?
Because it
If
wouldn't
I
be
would have
her
lost somebody, God forbid, that I loved, I'd be like, you know what, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to think about it. Or maybe she's doing something in the background, who knows? But it's just like the assumption that if it's not playing out in the public, that nothing is happening, or that there is something sinister.
No, I think, Eugene, you're thinking of it in a very simplistic way, though. If you think of any matter that's kind of, any child abduction, anything that's been public, that we know about, no family has ever turned around and said, no, we're going to investigate this privately. We want no more media attention on it. The more media attention there is on it, the more pressure there is on. If she was investigating this privately, if this is an assassination from, higher powers, from certain governments, whatever the case is, what is she going to possibly do privately? Doing it publicly is applying pressure to these organizations and these governments. Do you understand?
I mean, I see your point.
He's a public figure. He's not just a bob off the streets where you can do it privately. Like, this is major.
But nothing happens though, right? Like, it doesn't matter, like, if you're on YouTube like every single day, like, nothing is going to come out of it. If somebody's involved and they don't want the stuff to come out, whether she is on YouTube or on TV every single day, like, nothing is going to change. Whether, you know what I mean? Like, it's just for people to watch and to generate the viewership.
Yeah,
I just don't think things would change whether it's public or private. Again, just my opinion. Especially if serious people are involved, then it doesn't matter what she does publicly, nothing is going to matter. Look, with Trump, right? We talked about it. 2 assassination attempts, and everybody's quiet about it. Nothing is coming out. And that's the president of the United States. So with Charlie Kirk stuff, if people don't want anything to come out, it's not going to come out. It doesn't matter what she does. So maybe she made, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a family decision, I have no idea. But I'm sure she thought about it. What's the upside versus what's the downside, right? I have no idea if she's on it or if she's not on it, but assuming...
Are you not moving away from like the incentive for Candace Owens to discuss something? If it was not her, it's someone else. Like, just because she's a big public profile, it wasn't her that was doing all, like, she latched on to everybody else's research, right? She was just looking at all the different research pieces of all the different videos. There's thousands of content creators that are small time. Big up to you, Nikos. Good to see you. And by Perchy, thank you very much indeed for coming on, my man. Absolute legend tonight. I could see you were falling asleep at the desk. And before I carry on, just quickly, Daniel Phil, big up to you, my man, with a super sticker. Appreciate you, Daniel boy. Thank you very much, buddy. Hope you're okay, my man. Clapham Junction of the YouTube community. It's always on the super sticker train. But like, away from just like whether or not she's doing it for clicks and stuff, she just latched on to all of the other evidence that was sort of brought around by suspicious and curious minds that don't have the reach that she has. She's now like the Queen Charlie Kirk conspiracy girl, but there's hundreds of other people that were on it before her. You know what the internet does? Like, the internet examines everything within an inch of its life when they get a sniff of something. And I think we're moving away a little bit from like who's to gain from did it happen? Like, was it legit? And I don't think it is. I think that there's so much, like, it doesn't, I'm not saying it's Israel. I don't know if it's Israel. I don't know if it's the left, but like, for me, do you guys believe that it is a lone guy called Tyler Robinson who was pissed off with Charlie Kirk because he suggested that the idea of shagging a furry is somehow going against God, and that he decided that the guy has to die for that reason, and then figured all the other shit out himself? Because none of that shit makes any sense to me. None of it at all.
I don't know. I mean, things are shady for sure, especially when right after Kirk got shot, there's this old guy on the ground who said, "Oh, it was me. I shot him," to give that kid some time.
What about him? Yeah.
Yeah. So something is happening for sure. But I'm just, again, not to rehash. If this was an intelligent agency, it would be done cleaner, without any downside, and like your question, Sean, in the beginning, like who, this is definitely somebody who wanted to pit, let's say, right against the left, right? To make a show out of it, to make this a big deal, right? Like, and a foreign intelligence agency, not only, like, in my opinion, they wouldn't operate and kill a civilian, but they wouldn't care about this whole right versus left division. They would just get the job done. Given the public nature of that execution, if there is a conspiracy, I think it's something to do with internal politics, whether it's the gun laws, whether it's the trans, whether FBI, CIA, Antifa, whoever. But I feel like personally, it doesn't scream to me like an outside,
Fair enough.
Again, I could be,
We haven't talked about the Egyptian planes thing. I don't. But by the way, Nicholas, we've been going for 2 hours, mate. So I don't want to go through the whole thing again. But what's your sort of general sort of take on the Charlie Kirk thing?
Well, I tuned in for a little bit because I've got parents here. I wasn't able to join earlier, but I tuned in. There was way too much rational thinking going on for my liking. So
sorry.
What are you saying then? You think it was alien?
I noticed she was massively outnumbered there with skeptics, so I thought I'd just try and sort of balance the books a little bit. But I think there's a reason why people like that, notoriously get taken out when you've got a platform and you're a public speaker, like in the kind of numbers that he can bring attention to. I think it's a weapon. It's a threat to certain people. I noticed that a lot of people brought up Israel from what I tuned in and said, and yeah, he did come out in the later stages of his life, and he changed his stance completely on his allegiance to them. I think that's a big red flag. I think, publicly he come out and started sort of distancing himself from what was happening in Gaza and condemning the acts that they were making. And I think that's a public no-no. Personally, I think it was an assassination, and potentially it was you know, to warn people when them kind of figures and circles of making such sort of same mistakes, if you like. When you come out and criticize these types of powerful figures that are trying to rule the world, and you bring a spotlight on them, they're like cockroaches, you know, like they just do whatever they can. But you know, again, not to get into all the religious stuff, but I noticed, you know, my 2 pence probably was needed here, because yeah, unfortunately they do run a lot of these powerful organizations, and someone that comes out and criticizes them is the first one. You know, it's happened a lot in history. You know,
Yeah, because it's also just strange that he felt, or he even in those text messages felt like he was going to be murdered, he was going to be killed, like in the next few days. So how did, like, and some young guy then comes and shoots him? But even this guy's dad has come forwards, because obviously the whole thing was his dad convinced him to turn himself in, but his dad's now come out and said that it wasn't his son, and he never did all of this.
Personally, again, I like to bring crazy to the world, but I don't think it was a lone gunman on a roof or a rifle.
No, absolutely not. It just doesn't make sense.
I kind of lent towards what Sean said earlier about the exploding microphones. You're familiar with obviously the exploding pages that were happening in the Middle East, I think 2 years ago. It wouldn't surprise me if there was exploding microphones and things that could be used as weapons on
But it's still, the microphone was this side.
Yeah, and the exit
the
holes on the other side.
only wound was over here, but there was no wound here. So if it's going to come out there, it has to go in here, right? You can't just. But one thing we didn't bring up. Did you see those videos about the searches on Google? People looked at the searching trends. There's like a trends tool where you can see like how many people have searched for a certain thing, and nobody had searched for the name Tyler Robinson in like the last 365 days or whatever, anywhere around the world or whatever, and then 4 days before, there was like 3 or 4 searches for the name Tyler Robinson that happened to come from one from Israel, or 2 from Israel, 1 from Washington, from some IP addresses in Washington DC. On top of that, the road where the rifle was found, right, was like a little not like a cul-de-sac, but like it was like, so there's one road here and then there's another road that's coming off of it, but the part where the rifle was found was like a little enclave, and that had a particular name and a particular zip, and that thing as well hadn't obviously been searched for before or in the last long period or whatever. And again, there was like 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 searches for that specific address, and 2 of them come from Washington DC, like in the 3 days beforehand, and 1 of them happened to be in Israel as well. And again, I find that a little bit suspicious. I don't just Mojine. Why do you rock whenever Israel comes up?
They're just facts. They're facts.
You know why? How come nobody ever says maybe it was Iran or Vatican or Russia, whatever, like any murder, any single conspiracy, like in the past 2,000 years? Oh, it has to be Israel, it has to be the Jews, like nobody else is ever mentioned. That's why it's kind of like, I don't know, it's crazy. It could be in Iran.
I mean, he said it himself.
Vatican. So that's a really it's an interesting stance to take, where like it kind of feels like it's, I don't know, like there's people that I know that will have a little dig at me, a dig about something, and then expect me just to let it go, like I didn't notice it, or like it will land, right? But then they think they could just say it, and then if I have a crack back, they then get upset and play victim. And I feel like there's a little bit of that sometimes with the sort of like the notion of what happens with anti-Semitism. I feel like people like it's a weapon it's a tool that's used to sort of to disregard any potential criticism. Go, you can't criticize us, you can't criticize me, and if you do, you're anti-Semitic. I think that sort of weapon gets played a little bit too much.
Did you see the
only reason we mentioned Israel?
I'm not saying that.
The only reason we mentioned Israel tonight is because he had ties to the Jewish thing, to the Jewish lobby. He had ties to Israel. He lost, or he gave up, or walked away from his donors, and those searches came up. He wouldn't have come up. Those things wouldn't have come up if it hadn't have been for those particular.
I'm not talking about you guys. I'm just saying in general, like the same people, again, like Candace Owens, or just same people. It doesn't matter what happens in the world. Somehow it ties back somehow to the same conspiracy. That's my point, right? It's not about, okay, I have this evidence and this makes sense. It's okay, something happened. How are we gonna fit this into the narrative?
I don't think it is that way, though. Like when that guy in the UK, Litvinenko, got poisoned, right? All of the evidence suggested that was Russia. No one was talking about Israel then.
It happened now with Israel.
No, but like in that particular instance, all of the evidence suggested that it was Russia. The guy had problems with Russia. Russia had a problem. Putin had a problem with him. No one was talking about Israel. The only time Israel comes up in conversation is if there was a genuine link to Israel. But yeah, people assume, but some people always assume that it's always Israel. It isn't. It's only Israel if Israel has the connection. In that situation, it was Russia. No one was talking about Israel when when the bombs blew up London, right? The 7/11, whatever it was. No one was talking about Israel then. That was Islam. It's not like it always comes back to Israel. It's if Israel is part of the conversation, people will talk about it.
It's probably maybe recently it does feel that way, but I mean, yeah, I think over history it's not always been like that.
In the state,
we can't do it like that. We can't do it like this. You can't be advocate for the source of conspiracy and avoiding the people that actually run a lot of the major organizations, corporations. You can't basket them all together either. It's got to be a case by case basis. Like there's for 25 years of my life we've had Al Qaeda, Taliban, going back to all the Iranis and all these and all these terrorist organizations. But as soon as it's mentioned Israel, it's like, oh, the defense mechanism comes up. And like, I don't know if anyone saw the Piers Morgan Nick Fuentes interview the other night. Did anyone catch that?
Fucking brilliant. It was so funny.
He said it perfectly. He said this generation is seen through the lies. Whereas our parents and our parents' parents, these were all controlled, and the narrative was sympathy for the Israelis. But they've shown the world over the last 2 years that there shouldn't be any sympathy for these IDFs and governments that are running Israel, because they're literally committing genocide on live TV in front of us all. So I don't.
In his opinion, it's genocide.
Well, he also says the Hitler is cool. So a lot of
exactly.
says,
and he said that women should shut the fuck up. Most blacks.
He's a troll, so don't take him seriously at all. He's a troll. He's
a troll. He's what do they call him? An edgelord, right? Where he just winds everybody up and just laughs it off. He's so fucking funny. I don't agree with anything he says, but he is so fucking funny.
Wait, I agree with a lot of what he says. I think Hitler was pretty cool, because I think the history was rewritten about Hitler. Hitler was the most populous man in Germany for the best part of like 10 years. You don't get that popular without actually having something behind you. But the history has been rewritten that this guy was a mass murderer and all this stuff.
Cool as in interesting. Cool as in someone that's interesting to review, interesting to read about, because he had the ability to control and convince millions of people to do things. Like 100%. That like everybody's interesting, and like anyone that's I guess has made it in their to some level of prominence is interesting. But cool as in interesting is one way, but cool as in a good dude. He wasn't a good dude.
He was one of the last people, Adolf Hitler, in this particular subject. He was one of the last people to stand up against the Rothschilds. So he was one of the last people to stand up against the banking takeovers and financial takeovers of Germany.
Yeah, and he also wanted power for himself, mate. So like he's just another version of a bad dude. Another bad dude that was fighting,
as opposed to letting the people that run all the world have it. It's,
Yeah, but he ended up killing people. He ended up killing millions of people, mate.
Well, mate, some of the best people, Winston Churchill wasn't exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sitting there fucking waving any flags for Winston Churchill either. Like what he did in India was fucking horrendous. So I'm just saying that everybody that's in power, even the enemy of my enemy is my friend. No, you're still just a bunch of fucking assholes. All you want is power for yourself, and you don't want someone else having it, and you'll send other people's kids to war to fight your own fucking battles. It's like the rich men north of Richmond thing, right? Like it's not like they're not cool as in good people. There's nobody that gets to that level of power or that level of wealth that is a good person. None of them. They are all one degree or another of a CUNT.
Yeah, the point being is like what Nick Fuentes said in his interview. Like I agreed with a lot of what he said, but one thing that was quite powerful that sort of stuck with me is like he's the most viewed streamer in the world right now. So obviously there's a lot of people that resonate and relate to what he's saying. And he's saying that
on Rumble.
Sorry?
On Rumble, he's the most viewed streamer. He's not the most viewed streamer.
To be fair, he's wherever he's the most viewed, he's definitely one of the top viewed people, and spoke about, in his circles. And the geezer's not even 30 yet, but he speaks for a generation that's probably before our time. And he's saying, that the whole browbeating of anti-Semitism as a way of protecting a particular class of people is past us now. We've seen through it. We've seen it on live TV. The information is now available from the internet. We haven't got to believe all of these narratives that are spun our way like our parents were. And I think that's quite an important subject. So this is why I wanted to chime on just briefly on the Israel thing, not to offend anybody, especially Eugene, because obviously I don't have an opinion on anything like that, but was just saying they happen to be center to a lot of these big conspiracies, you know. And the Charlie Kirk one, they had the most to lose. If he started coming out and started talking secrets of Israel, like, they could lose a lot of public support very quickly.
But he wouldn't know the secrets of Israel, mate.
What public support, though? But again, let's use our brains. What public support? Kids do not support Israel as is right now in the States. 95%. So that's out of the question. Again, Mossad, they're not going to kill a U.S. civilian on the U.S. soil. Because, you know, like them and CIA are working together. It just makes no sense.
He was reaching a class of people that are not reachable by this older generation. He was advocating on universities. So future leaders and people that are going to be going into the next stage of their life, spreading information. He was reaching that one. All right, a lot of them were deranged. Like, if you ever saw one of his actual campus rallies, you would see that there's quite a lot of mentally ill people actually in his audiences in general. But if he could have that power to move a narrative, you know, that becomes a very powerful weapon against the established structure of people that own the power, such as.
But so does everybody else. Like any influencer, they have millions of views on YouTube, just like he does. There are tens or dozens of influencers who get millions or tens of millions of views, and they're still alive. Candace Owens said somebody wants to kill her, she's still alive. Like, it's that's my point, Nikos.
She's married to someone powerful. She's married to a farmer, so she's like whatever his name is, something farmer. She's married to a very powerful person already. But the point is Charlie Kirk was an example. Like, if you talk about us and you tune away from what you promised us.
So you're convinced it was Israel that killed him?
I'm not convinced it's Israel. I just think there's a high probability, because that would be the person that would be would be the most beneficial of something like that being a public statement. You know, if he come, because from what the research I'd done, he'd obviously come out quite recently before his assassination, and he'd distanced himself from Israel. He'd rejected offers from Netanyahu. I don't know if you covered this stuff. He also rejected money, lobbying. He distanced himself from them. And again, I can't think if it wasn't a lone gunman, where would the conspiracy be? Who would be the beneficiaries of such an act? You know, and I just think that it
doesn't have to be a conspiracy, does it? It doesn't have to be a conspiracy. It could just be a simple murder, but most of these things are usually not. So let me just sorry, Nikos, 1 second. So you're saying that you're leaning towards Israel. Looney Sues?
I'm saying it wasn't lone gunman. It wasn't lone gunman, I don't think. So I'm looking at what's the next possibility. And I would say that, they would be the biggest loser if he was to come out and start talking more about the way he was going. Personally, this is what I thought.
Looney Sues?
So I think government, but I mean, I wouldn't know. I would want to say Israel, but also, I'm not 100% convinced on that, because what I also wanted to ask you guys was about the coincidental, with the movie Snake Eyes as well. Did you see that?
I'll video on this.
Yeah,
Shall I play the video and then we?
Play it, and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
It seems so far-fetched, but there's just so many similarities.
You also see the eye. You see the eye in the blimp then in the movie as well, which represents the Illuminati.
So much symbolism all in that movie.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in there.
There's only so many coincidences.
This is how we get back to conspiracy stuff, isn't it? Yeah, this is what you definitely.
I had to change the narrative, mate. I had to come in and just change this narrative a little bit. I was watching. I felt sorry for you, Sean, mate. He was getting cornered left, right, and centre. I was like, nah, I've got to come in and throw a spanner.
Who was cornering me?
Yeah, I was agreeing with Sean the whole time.
No, I must say, actually, I was quite surprised. Actually, I thought Susie took the reins quite well in terms of
It's
like.
Susie's conspiracy. She wanted the show to be about
Whenever
this.
I'm fully on board with the conspiracy, I feel like it's you guys who then disagree with me, where I feel the ones I believe in are the most obvious.
Well, if you're saying Israel,
We all
then we're
believe,
doing
that's
that
what
one
we
as
all
well.
think, though, you know. For
Well,
me,
you guys are more like the
reptiles.
far-fetched
It's all
kind of
aliens.
ones.
It's all aliens, 100%.
I see someone in the comment. I see someone in the comments say there, when is it never Israel for me? It's not a personal thing. Like it's not. I know you're very super defensive if you're from that thing, but you happen to own the biggest banks in the world. You run all the biggest businesses. Like if it's a grand conspiracy, unfortunately, like your name is on the list, and it's not a religion thing or a race thing. It just happens to be your people who empower these things that are beneficial of these conspiracies. So just don't take it personally.
I also
Thanks, though. Jews or
Moji,
not?
I don't like if someone was to
That's
turn around and
crazy.
say the Catholic Church is evil, right? Which I'm a Catholic. I'm a Roman Catholic, but in the season episode 1 of this season, I brought up all the pictures of how the Catholic Church has been completely bastardized. Like if someone turned around and said the Catholic Church are responsible for doing all those horrible things to young boys around Europe in the 8th, well, probably still to this day, I don't take offense to it. I don't understand why the average Jewish person that has absolutely no connections to Mossad or to power brokers or to obscene wealth or to Netanyahu or anything else, why do you take such offense if it's just about your religion? Like it doesn't
It's not a religion. That's the difference, Sean. It's not a religion.
Well, Judaism isn't a religion.
No,
It's a small
I
circle.
can't help it. I'm not religious, but if you're born Jewish, that's who you are. That's why it resonates more because it's in your blood.
Race.
Yeah. So talking back to Hitler, right? It was by blood, right? That's the people
Right, then,
who was killed.
like if black people say that white people have destroyed the world, and I didn't.
Yeah,
So
but it comes
you know,
with
I might
like
have this channel, but
but you know why? But you know, like it comes from like centuries of persecution, and that's why, like in your DNA, you have this defense mechanism where, like, when
Oh, that's
people
really
start talking
interesting.
about it, you push back. When it's like, oh, Hitler was cool and this and that, where it's like, no, like I know my like family's history where like my family was killed in Ukraine and this and that. So when again, I'm not saying anything, but that's kind of an example where after centuries of this stuff, after a while, if you hear it again, it's like, oh, that's what my grandma warned me about. That's what happened before. That's what happened like in Europe before. So it happens again. And it's like, oh, who's in power? Who are the bankers?
religion?
Who's this and that? Oh, obviously it's their fault, right?
What
Like
religion
it's
was?
always the same dog whistle.
I get it. There's that defense mechanism. But what religion was Jeffrey Epstein? What religion was Harvey Weinstein? You know, they all come from a certain.
There are two, but there are a million of others who nobody talks about. Like
that's ridiculous, Nicholas. That's ridiculous, mate.
No,
yeah,
I'm
but
just saying, but these are big, high-profile cases of like people doing really bad shit.
what about Diddy?
Like,
Nobody says Diddy's a Christian,
Diddy,
and that's why nobody talks about it.
What about all of the fathers, the archbishops, the cardinals?
Oh, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I condemn all of that. I condemn all of that. I'm just saying, in a lot of conspiracies that we have covered, like on this show so far, they all come back to these kind of figures. You know, we can go back and sort of find holes in every religion, from the Catholics to the Muslims to all the way back. But I'm just saying, the ones that we tend to have covered as a core, unfortunately, the people that are
because we're covering things that are more recent.
I'm just saying recent ones of the scandals over the last few years. Some of the highest profile ones just happen to be Jewish people, no?
I don't know. Like tonight. Well, tonight's not about Israel, is it? Like it's not.
No.
It doesn't mean that Israel is. Tonight is about Charlie Kirk. Israel is just one path of investigation. Like I definitely think that I actually, to be honest, Nicholas, I kind of feel like what Mojin is saying. I feel like you do come at a lot of these things with an Israeli angle.
Like in every episode, which is it's all good, but it's like, look,
It's
like
not
after a
personal.
while,
It's not personal, though. It's not like I'm trying to attack it. It's just like I can see quite clearly that they have a stranglehold on most infrastructure of every aspect of most life, like from especially professional life, and there's high profile cases left, right, and centre, but they choose to be ignored. And then when they do get highlighted, there seems to be this big pushback of, why always us? Why is it always us? But the internet's been around 20 years now. We now know a lot of stuff we were taught about it wasn't true. So
if you look at in the world, people in positions of power are there more Jews or non-Jews in position of power? Since we're like 1% of the population. If you look at all the CEOs,
as a ratio, as
no, just in general.
Oh, but yeah,
as a
but
ratio, yes.
In generality is ridiculous because there's only
but
12
why?
million Jews in the whole world. But as a ratio of like there's 100 people, 100 millionaires in the world. What percentage of them are Jewish? Far higher than the average amount of Jewish people and the average 100 people in the street. 100%. Like
Right,
ridiculously higher.
Why nobody talks about, like, if anything happens, nobody says, oh, this guy's a Christian or this guy's that. But if it's like a Jewish person, like, oh, their ties to the, like, I don't know. It's just, maybe I'm being, and I don't think I'm too sensitive because I don't care about that stuff. I don't get offended. But I don't know. Like in the last 5 years, it's picking up steam, especially in the US. And it's Israel's fault. Like that, I blame on Israel for what's happening in the US with the whole like anti-Jewish sentiment.
Like I say, but like I think that if what's happening in Israel right now wasn't happening, I don't think there would be that same sentiment.
I agree.
So like, yeah, I think sometimes there has to be a little bit of self-reflection, not from Jewish people, but about the people that are making decisions in that part of the world and going, how is it that how many people have been killed in that part of the world over the last, I don't know, 5 years because of Israeli attacks, and yet there's absolutely no acknowledgement that those things are part of the reason why that there's the sentiment. It's like one hand scratches, one hand washes the other, right?
My question is this done on purpose? This whole narrative change around like the way that Israel and Israelis and Jews are like looked at, the whole sentiment has changed, but has that been done on purpose? That's what I always come back to. Like
100%. Because I believe the Black Pope and the White Pope are really in charge of everything, and I think those like the the Orsini family, those sorts of fuckers, they're not Jewish.
I think it's more simpler. It's on social media. It's the first war that's on social media, and then also like the Muslim influence in Europe and in the States that plays a role. But ultimately, that Gaza war that makes a lot of difference with young people, the universities, just in the States.
Neutrals in general.
Well, the neutrals and also
the APAC. You saw that, like you'd make a decision, wouldn't you? Like on which side you kind of like more.
Exactly, but the thing is, what actually, like again, like just playing devil's advocate, there are wars happening in the world. There are genocides in Africa. Nobody talks about it. There are genocides everywhere. Nobody talks about it. But when it's Gaza, it's 100%. On every single Instagram post. So I'm not saying it's right. 100%. It's terrible. I'm against it. I'm against the U.S. sending money to Israel or Ukraine, even though I'm Ukrainian. Like I'm against all that. However, you cannot tell me how come Africa gets no pub? How come 100%. The Middle East, like all the Sunni Shiite stuff, the fact that Egypt doesn't let in any Gazans, the biggest wall, the border wall in the world is in Egypt. They hate Palestinians. Like nothing gets any pub whatsoever. However, anytime like Israel does something, which again, I don't agree with, it's wrong.
I agree. I hear you on that.
Everywhere. And that's why people like me or be like, hey, I'm trying to be moderate, but on the other hand, do not tell me there's no agenda because it's obvious. Like nobody talks about Somalis and this and that. Like, and that's crazy.
100%. I can agree with that.
I agree. So is the whole narrative and the reason why it's being exposed and they're getting highlighted is because are they trying to change the public perspective of how they're viewed? That's what I keep thinking.
I don't know.
There's definitely a power play going on. There's definitely there's always something going on. But listen, guys, we've been going for 2.5 hours, so we round off soon. In a couple of minutes. It's been a very fascinating show. Susie, do you know, just quickly, because there's one area that Candace was banging on about with the whole Charlie Kirk thing that I never really understood what she was talking about. Egyptian planes. You familiar with that whole part of the narrative? She was like, "Oh yeah, all these planes were like from Egypt."
I did see. She was saying something like, planes were tracking Erica and Charlie."
Yeah,
but I didn't really go into too much into that.
She sort of talks about these things and says, "Oh yeah, there's something really suspicious about the fact that there was a plane that was, that was getting engineering works and the day, all this stuff." But it's just, I don't know, just little breadcrumbs without any detail, and it makes
I think she's also really well connected. So I think she also herself gets breadcrumbs, and then she tries to piece stuff together and sort of release stuff and.
Maybe she's
Should
one
we,
of the.
should we finish? Just quick. Oh, sorry. Go on, Nikos.
I was just saying, like, because she's now in a very wealthy family, maybe she's now being used as a tool to change the narrative. That's why she's allowed to talk about what she's talking about and not be threatened so much. I don't really trust her.
If she carries on going, she'll be next on the chopping list. I reckon.
Does anyone? Does anyone trust her?
But I don't trust anybody. Why would you trust her?
Anybody?
Well, I think I agree with you on that one. At least we agree on that one. But no, I don't particularly trust her, to be honest.
I quite enjoy listening to her, but I mean, I wouldn't say
90%
trust.
of her audience are girls. She's got a book.
I just think she talks with a lot of credibility, and I think she's brave in what she's doing, because there's not a lot of people that necessarily want to expose. It's basically what we're doing here. We expose things, and she's just obviously doing it on a much bigger platform, and she's highlighting things that don't make sense in the world. So I do kind of respect her for that, because, you know, she has put a big target on her back, and I think she knows that. But I think she wants to serve a purpose in the world. But then I guess if we were to become, I say this, we're going to become famous, like, you know, we're going to get like millions and millions of views. People are going to turn around and do the same thing to us. Do you know what I mean? When actually all we just started out just trying to, you know, expose things in the world that don't necessarily make sense. Like, you know, when you look a little bit deeper, but I don't know.
I guarantee you this channel is not going to get famous. This channel is going to get
sure. What am I doing here then?
I don't know what you're doing, but this channel is going to last about 2 more weeks, a couple more strikes, and then we put it to bed and go, well, we tried. Listen, I wanted to show this video of Tim Pool crashing out at Candace just quickly, because this is a fucking belter. This is probably going to get the show demonetized. Not that it's monetized anyway, but let's watch it.
Brett. We will see what happens in the trial when evidence is presented, but there's literally no other story. Just a bunch of fucking retards on the internet saying stupid shit. And what that does is the organization that helped get Donald Trump elected, which needs to persist. You don't got to be a fan of it, but it certainly will help get individual congressional candidates elected and stop Democrats from launching new committees and putting more people in prison like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. Instead, it's being gutted by fucking psychopaths telling people to pull their donations. So when this organization burns to the ground, or whatever the fuck happens to it, maybe they're fine. The organization that's rallying young people, causing a shift in the political leanings of a generation for the first time in history, is now in dire straits. Their leader and founder murdered, and prominent pieces of human trash are trying to destroy it. It's fucking evil. So you know what? When someone pulls in front of my property and fires on it several times, I'm sitting here looking at these vile pieces of shit and thinking to myself, for what purpose will I stick my neck out if this is what happens after Charlie Kirk is killed? Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt. She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me like I did something for you as you fucking cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right fucking now.
Yeah, that was
I'm fucking done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two fucking shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy. And she doesn't give a shit about her security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my fucking property and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got fucking strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who trying to live there. How the fuck am I even supposed to sell this property? And you know, it's all lies. It's all hypocrisy. And it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie. She loved Charlie. And she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again. This conservative movement is fractured. It's fried, whatever it is. Okay. Republicans are on track to lose the midterms. They were actually trending the other direction until Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And this is the point, isn't it? The most effective political assassination in history. And thanks to the likes of the vile cunt Candace Owens, she has turned Turning Point into the perpetrators of the crime that was against them. I don't get paid by any of these people. I'm not on good terms necessarily with Turning Point USA. They didn't invite me to their stupid event. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They invited me back after I started criticizing Candace. I'm not going to your event. I'm over all of this shit. The last thing that I need to deal with is a bunch of cowards in conservative media refusing to stand up to her. Megyn Kelly, come on. I appreciate the kind words, but come on. Such fucking pathetic bullshit. You know, and I get people saying, Tim, you know, thank you so much for talking about it. I don't care. I'm not doing a favor for anybody. I'm not doing this to benefit anybody. Nobody's paying me. There's no fucking Russia. There's no fucking Israel. There's just me sticking my neck out and then risking dying for what? A bunch of cowards that don't want to stand up to protect themselves? People like fucking Candace Owens?
I couldn't believe that she put you in the thumbnail.
A fucking cunt.
Of her piece today.
I'm done.
The idea that she'd
I'm
imply
fucking
that you had some benefit or that you.
Okay, he's correct. Tell me the lies.
I mean, look,
he's throwing a
Her
but
comeback
he's not
was
wrong.
brilliant. Her comeback was so calm, and she was like, "It's not testosterone, it's estrogen." Little pea woman.
I mean, we can speculate
I
on what her
think
motives
he's a little bitch. I don't rate him. I like one of the guys that's on his show. The guy always says I'm a counter-revolutionary and an anti-communist. That guy. I like him. I think he's good value. But Tim
I don't
Pool,
listen to him, but he didn't say anything that was wrong. Like everything that Kirk worked for is getting burned down just so that she's famous. Like that's it. Everything else doesn't matter to her.
I
And all those
disagree with him when he's
people,
talking about
like,
the Republicans. There. He said there that the Democrats were winning every election and until Charlie Kirk, and then the pendulum swung. Like I don't agree with that at all. I think the Republicans are going to walk away with the next election anyway, regardless of what happens.
they lost midterm, dude. We lost when there was the special elections. The Democrats gained everywhere.
Democrats are going to win the midterm.
It does. You know, people lose the midterms and win the elections as soon as Trump starts, you know, putting his mouth out there. You know, he has the support.
Mate, he's lost a lot of credibility, though. He's lost a lot of credibility because he made so many promises and he hasn't followed through on any of them. Like he's like, oh, are people still worried about? People still talking about the Epstein thing? Like, fuck yeah, people talk about that all day long, and he hasn't come through with any of that shit.
He's still got time though. He's still got time to come through all that stuff. But I'm just saying, like, I don't agree that the Democrats are walking away with any elections right now. Maybe some polls and things that are controlled. Maybe they're winning those. But you know, I think
no, they're going to win.
The next
president is irrelevant. What matters is the midterms, like the Congress, because the president is irrelevant.
They'll impeach him again as soon as they win.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, I personally just think the next president will be a Republican, and I don't think anything will happen. They have the majority in the House, the Senate, and the Congress. I just don't think.
But that's going to flip. That's the whole point, Nikos. The midterms, it's going to flip. It always does. Always does.
Put a bet on for me.
I will.
I'll take a bet on that, mate.
You know me. I like an outlandish bet.
Listen, guys. We've been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Usually we would be pivoting to the member show, but we've obviously sort of just carried on going too long tonight. So I want to say a massive thank. Oh, it was a super chat. I didn't see it. What is that? Craig Fan. Big up to you, Craig. He says it's always the same three things on this channel: Israel, Masons, or aliens. That's what we think. Listen, I'm into the aliens thing. Thank you very much, Craig. I really appreciate you. And listen, I'm not sure if we got to the conclusion. So, Susie, you're saying that you're just on the Charlie Kirk. You're leaning towards Israel as the culprit.
I mean, I just say it's a government body for me. Which governments? I don't know.
Nikos is definitely leaning Israel. Eugene, you're leaning lone shooter.
No, I'm leaning somebody like Antifa, like a radical internal organization, but definitely not a state.
George Soros, fact.
Yeah.
What religion Soros?
Stop it, because I knew if I tell you what, mate, if I had £1,000, if I had £1 million, I would have put my entire life savings on that comment coming out of your mouth as soon as I mentioned George Soros.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Or am I wrong? Oh, I'm right. Oh, okay.
He might be Jewish, but he's not in any way like a religious guy. He is the biggest atheist in the world. He just happens to be Jewish.
So the guy that funds the guy that funds the party and the established terrorist group that Eugene said happens to be an Israeli Jew. Okay, got you.
He's not,
Not
Israeli,
Israeli.
Jew. He's not Israeli.
Well, no,
He's
where's
Hungarian.
he
European.
from, actually?
He's
He's from
Hungarian.
Poland, or
Hungarian
no,
Jew.
Hungarian.
from Ukraine. Or
Hungary.
Poland, whatever, one of those.
Hungary. He's from Hungary. He was from
Hungary.
Budapest.
I think, yeah.
Not Budapest.
He's Jewish, right?
Yeah, he's Jewish. Yeah.
Of course, he's Jewish. That's why it came up.
Don't make me bring the receipts. Don't make me bring the receipts.
Listen,
Hitler
guys,
was cool.
it's been
On that
fun.
note.
But I'm pretty sure that we've definitely had 3 or 4 different strikes tonight. So I'd imagine this channel might not be here for the next show on Friday night. If it is, we'll go again. If it isn't, we'll start another one. We'll have to find a new channel name and start again. But it's been absolutely sensational. Susie, have you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, I really enjoyed tonight. It's been good.
Thank you so much for coming on. Are you out for Friday? Because we've got to repay the favour. Tonight
Yes,
we
I
went
did.
Charlie. Friday we have to go. Eugene wanted to do aliens, or would you want to do? What do you want to do on Friday?
I don't know.
Eugene, you were looking forward to doing something tonight, though. It was aliens tonight, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm game for whatever. Let's just
Susie,
like,
you'll be there.
We can do something outrageous because we were at the
let's
door on
do,
Friday. So hopefully if I'm home in time, then I
You'll
might
be
be a bit
smashed out of your
tipsy,
skull,
so
won't you?
we
speak
can
to me.
do the creation of Israel on Friday. Me and Nikos can do a deep dive into the history.
Listen,
of
I
Israel.
think we've done a lot with got to the point where flat Earth hasn't been mentioned now for a few shows. Maybe we should also get to a point where we don't talk about Israel for a couple of shows and just talk about something that's neither.
I only joined because you was talking about it. I only joined because I was like, I can't miss it. I got to put.
I know, like I gotta be on. We're talking.
I missed a little bit of the flat Earth thing as well, to be honest.
Okay, let's go back to that next week, and then I'll get a bit of brow brushing. You know, I'll take it.
Guys,
if you're wondering, I'm triggered. A little bit.
Eugene, mate, thank you so much for coming on as well, buddy. Appreciate you, mate. Have you had a good time?
Oh, of course, always.
Love it, mate. Love it.
This is great.
Nikos, thanks for coming on late, my man. You have a good time, briefly.
What's that?
Appreciate you. I said, did you have a good time, briefly?
Oh, always, mate. Love it. Yeah, sorry I wasn't able to make it early. I've got family here, so I thought, but they all gone to bed, and I thought, let me see what they're doing. And I jumped into the conversation right at the end. And I thought, well, I'm not liking the way this is going. I've got to spice this up a little bit.
Get Eugene angry.
I think they haven't been cancelled quite enough tonight. So let's go off. Let's go after one final topic and get a few cancellations. And a massive shout out to
I'm the member show. I'm the member show tonight. I come in at the end just to spice it up and throw some controversy and some spanners in there. And
sensational.
Interesting.
Absolutely sensational. Big up to Perchy as well. I'm sure he was asleep. He was falling asleep at his desk there. Massive thank you to everyone watching. As always, please do hit the like button. Please do hit the Nikos von Klinkenhoff. I don't know what that means, but it looks like it's going to sound like a good name. Guys, we'll be back on Friday. Appreciate everyone for stopping by. And as always, we'll see you next time down the rabbit hole. Bye.